Hello and welcome to the Apex Online Racing Touring Car Championship. It brings me great pleasure to say those words. It's the start of a new TCC. Let's go. We're going to be kicking off this barbecue at a sausage, and what better one to do that at than Brands Hatch Indy, just a short little track in the shape of some delicious barbecued foods. I'm Alie Tacq. Nice to have you along, and I'm joined here by my very good buddy and such an expert on Forza, TUS Melish. Thanks so much for being here, Melish.
We're at the sausage. We're at the sausage. And I've been looking forward to this. It brings great memories. There's all the nostalgia. Such a small track, 1.21 miles. We've got 18 laps per race. I'm going to be looking at some, wherever you are on the track, we're going to be looking at some top class action as we have 16 cars in every lobby, Alie. And I just think that's a perfect number to have in a lobby.
It's a whole lot of machinery to fit around a tiny little bit of asphalt like this, and especially when they're all bunched together going through turn one, we can expect some people sliding off the track. We can expect some people in the kitty litter, but you know that at the TCC, if you're finding those wins, if you're making those wins, those can make your reputation on Forza or break them. Remember VBR Hayasa? Maybe you know who that guy was. Won a race in the TCC, and everyone knew his name all of a sudden. But we're gearing up for the qualifying session here, just pressing spectate and getting ready to go, and this is going to be a good one, Mesh.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned VBR Hayasa there as one of the great names that's come through the TCC. Also, though, for us, he's not signed up, but Mitch for the Williams Esports team has signed up. He's with his own Williams Esports team with Seven and Roadrunner, but he came up through the ranks here. This is his birthright. This is his entitlement, his lands. Who's going to be able to take that away from him? He's going to be here representing Williams Esports. But he started this event as Mitch 555. That's a long time ago, Alie.
Yeah, I tell you what, Mesh, it does feel a little bit like that, doesn't it? It feels a little bit that way. This year, Williams Mitch seems to be coming into this championship with a certain poise, a certain attitude that I think says, I haven't got a TCC championship under my belt yet, but this isn't going to be the case for very long at all. JSR Rossi has one, and I want one too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people. I mean, this is season 5, so there's only 4 predecessing champions, if you will, to hold that claim, to hold that title, the prestige. And we got 99 drivers here. Now, unfortunately, only 16 of those are going to be making it into Lobby A, which we're going to be on board with. But, it's going to be, we've got Type R, we've got Venom. Type R is going to be one of, I'm sorry, I love Mitch, but Type R is, I think it's like fire to ice. Minus to positive. They're going to go at each other. I've got a feeling. And Commando. Commando's not had luck in recent years in the TCCC. Hopefully he's brought his horseshoe or his 4-leaf clover with him this time, because he's in the Honda Civic, I think. And no, he's not in the Honda Civic. He's in the Cruise, sorry. He's in the Cruise. And I think that Cruise can actually be one of the cars to challenge the Honda Civic. Honda Civic seems to be the OP here.
I can sit here and listen to you chat through all the drivers all day, Melish. It's put me right back. I'm 2 years younger suddenly, and we're sitting doing this a couple of seasons ago. We're getting ready to go. The launch countdown's kicking off, so we're heading into qualifying any second now. It's going to be a short session, just 5 laps. 4 of those will be in anger, so just 4 opportunities for each driver to set a stinking hot fast lap that can put them way up on the grid. And we're heading into the session now. Brands Hatch Indy, just a short circuit, as Melish said, but one which is very, very technical indeed, very difficult to get right. We'll have a look at the lap later on in this cast with Commando. We don't want to be sitting on board with YMTV Saucy Son. That's not interesting for anyone. Let's get on board with TUS Dunk, a fantastic competitor and also one of the people who runs with AOR and puts this brilliant championship together.
Absolutely. One of the things that makes me smile instantly when you come on board to spectate mode of a TCC championship, whether it's qualifying or a race, is the way that you just warm the tires up on Forza in a front-wheel drive car. It's because it's so cold. The back end just feels like you're driving on plates. You're just driving on discs, you got the handbrake locked and they're just spinning around like a tail wagging, and then they warm up and then they go. They shoot off like a rocket, and it's just something that reminds me of TCC only, and it puts you right in the good atmosphere, Alie. Right in a good atmosphere.
No, I completely agree. You know, these cars, they don't do anything when they've got cold tyres. You see a few of the top drivers popping the handbrake every now and again to keep those rear tyres warm, keep some temperature in them. It's not easy to do at all. It's not an easy kind of car to drive, but that's what makes this a challenge. What's great about touring cars, though, I think, well, the thing that I love about this championship is that you can really get a little bit of side-to-side action. You can really get stuck in there, digging into the car next to you, and you know, overtaking a way that you wouldn't normally, as Dunk gets it very wrong at McLaren for his first hot lap attempt.
Well, you talk about what you love. I want to talk about what I love, because usually when we see these kind of championships come on Forza, they're very, you know, continental specific. You don't see many crossovers, and today we've got people from Americas, we've got people coming from Europe mainly, predominantly, but we've seen them, there's going to be a battle of continents as well, so not just privateers and teams, we've got battle of continents. I'm on board with Texas Devil. You know, he's going to be looking strong. He's in a Honda Civic, and he's going to be playing against what he can do against the top guys in Europe. So this is a great testament to his capabilities, and he's going to improve as a driver because of this.
You know, Texas Devil spent a little bit of time away from Forza. He's come back to it now. I think for this championship, a few people will do that. They'll wait till the TCC comes along as someone slides off altogether there at McLaren. I wonder if that was Dunk again getting it wrong there. Devil coming round to finish his second flying lap. He's currently sitting on 8th place on this order, and that won't improve his qualifying chances there. SVR Chasmo remains on pole position in this lobby. So doing very nicely indeed for the SVR team. Newly formed since we've run a TCC SVR, so exciting to see them out here.
Well, I don't know if you've heard, but, you know, Chasmo's been released from SVR. He's running this championship with them, but he's not actually with SVR anymore. News doesn't travel that fast, Ali, I'm afraid. But I'll let you know on that anyway. I have to say, though, the times that we're looking for, the top times we're going to be looking for high 46s. That is what we're looking for, Ali. High 46s. So the fact that he's on a 47.3 speaks dividends, as you know, as a driver, to how he's improved. He's about 6/10 off the top pace right now. So, and he's only a youngster, so plenty of room, plenty of time to kind of mature as a driver on Forza Motorsport.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the drivers coming around to start their final laps, their final attempts here in qualifying. All of them running across the line, and this will be their last chance, I think, to set a hot lap. We've had a little bit of lag in this lobby. You've seen Texas Devil flying all over the track and using some places that don't look like the track at all as well. I don't know how much of that is actually taking place and how much is just lag happening. FCT Sam, though, for the French FCT crew, taking the fastest lap in this lobby. Do remember, we've got a whole lot of people out racing tonight, almost 3 figures, I think, on the track. So do keep in mind that although we're monitoring our qualifying session, our lobby that we're sitting in, other lobbies may well have drivers who are setting faster lap times. A 1:47.5 there, sitting right now as FCT Sam's fastest time, and it looks like that'll crown off the session as everyone gets taken over by the automated drivers and we're back into relaxation mode. 47.5, Mellish, 47.5. What does that say to you in terms of pace? Is that quick around here? Is that slow?
You know, when you do such a small track, and this Touring Car Championship has a few in its calendar, I have to admit, you're looking at very close proximity times. It does kind of adhere to the length of the track. So looking at a 47.1, I'm expecting that to be at the back end of Lobby A. It may not be the case, but I'm looking maybe 10th to 12th is going to get you, you know, that 47.1, that's where it's going to get you. But no, there's a huge time distance just in this qualification, guys. And remember, this is not the only qualification that's happening. Simultaneous qualifications are going on, but a huge 2 seconds between first and last in this lobby. And obviously, they're going to be filtering on into their respective racing fields later after this quali. But that's such a huge gap in terms of such a small track, really small track, Ali. So I'm expecting to see FCC Sam make that Lobby A. Fingers crossed for him.
you know, small track like this, there's just less opportunities for fast drivers to differentiate themselves from slow drivers. That's how it goes. The longer the track, we were racing around the Nordschleife, then you'd see much larger gaps between the fastest people and the slowest people. As you say though, Melish, yeah, I mean, 2 seconds variance between the pack, that's a lot around here. That's people finding things like 3-4 tenths of a second in a given lap, which is in a given corner, excuse me, which is a huge amount to make up. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be, I think everyone in A lobby is going to be running at a very high pace here, very competitive.
Yeah.
But there is a vast amount of different ranges of skill that we're seeing out here on track.
And the frustrating thing for me, Ali, is it doesn't have to be in regards to their racing line or what gears they're taking. It could be a simple thing like they're not using simulation steering, which is absolutely essential and a key ingredient to getting those top times in touring cars. You have to run simulation steering, which of course, you know, gives you that risk of maybe coming, you know, if you're getting involved in a collision or something, you're going to end up worse off as a result of simulation steering. But it's absolutely necessary, especially in a ghosted qualification lobby. You must run it. If you're not running it, you're going to be losing at least 2 tenths. 2 tenths on a track like this, that could see you between lobby A and lobby B.
What's the risk reward like of sim steering in a TCC car, Melish? I mean, these are a little bit harder to spin, aren't they? There's not much you're losing out on by running sim. Why would you even run normal?
I mean, I think it's that fear factor and also that comfort level. You know, if you think that you're more consistent, and I can speak here as from experience, that I'm more comfortable in normal steering, more consistent in normal steering, I'm just shaving off a bit of my pace in order to get that consistency. And some people might feel that, or some people might just be scared of some steering. It is quite a daunting thing if you've never ran it before, if you're not accustomed to the way it feels on a controller all-wheel configuration. It can, you know, it can scare you off. And if you just want to, if you want to enjoy the racing, you want to put that at the back of your mind. That's why people would choose that normal steering instead. But I have to say, to run those top times, you have to be running simulation steering. So, you know, and like you say, front-wheel drive, it's not that hard to kind of, you know, get loose. You know, and they're very kind of easy to recover as well, as opposed to rear-wheel drive cars. If you run simulation steering on them, it's a lot. That's a whole different kettle of fish. You know, but front-wheel drive, easily recoverable. Yeah, power out of it.
Recoverable. Yeah. The rear tyres will follow the front ones, power out of it, and the thing will stop fishtailing eventually. Some people who've been getting that right, who've been running the right settings, running the right car, doing a fab job all round in qualifying so far. FCT Sam takes the fastest time in that session. We just mentioned it, but a 1:47.1 in fact was his time. I was reading a 5, but that's actually the second digit. It was 1:47.155, so very, very low 1:47. Followed along by SVR Chaswell, as you say, Melish, somebody who I'm finding out is in his swan song for SVR here in the TCC. No longer going to be racing with that team. Perhaps turning a few heads by setting a time like that in an event like this is qualifying lobby. Maybe he's going to get the old call from SVR Solar, who might say,
actually,
Chasmo, you want to stay a bit longer?
Come back. yeah.
Come back.
Let's extend that contract. You know, I know exactly what you're saying. And he's in his prime. I think he's a year off the FRC. He's got a long way to go. He's got to mature as a driver. I think attitude is one of the biggest components as a driver. Being able to think ahead, not just what's in front of your nose, but 3 steps ahead, if that's a possibility, always helps and pays dividends as a driver. So, yeah, Chasmo did a great job there. Tim coming into the 47, the only other driver, I believe, to make it into the 47. It was a high 47 at a .942, so just squeezing into the 47s. But the question is, Ali, is that going to be enough? Because as we said, we're expecting very close qualifying times, and I just don't think a .9 is feasible to just squeeze into that bubble of Lobby A.
Well, usually, I mean, so Lobby A, you know you're going to get Lobby A, I think, with a 46. I think that's sold. That's done and done. And usually we'd be able to sort of say another second on top of that might be the cutoff for 16th place. But this track is so small. It's so little. Just 45-second laps. This is more of a go-kart track. That's the kind of thing you'd see on a go-karting timing sheet. 47 seconds, isn't it? Get around the lap. It's very, very short. So I wonder, maybe 47.5 is the cutoff. 47.3. I'm thinking that, you know, we may be seeing 1-2 drivers from this lobby in actually the A lobby. It's really cream of the crop stuff in a competition this big.
But don't get put off, guys. If you don't make lobby A, I would just say wherever you are, because the times, you know, obviously it goes from fastest to slowest in descending order. You know, don't get put off by where you are. If you find that you feel like you're off pace, there's loads of room to improve. Loads of room to improve. And it's just going back and doing the practice, getting the right tune set up, and just putting that time in. You know, but you're going to be racing with people around you of respective pace to yours. So, you know, don't feel like you're not going to have a great race just because you're not in lobby A. That's not what this is. This is a perfect practice platform for you, regardless of what lobby you're in, to just better yourself as a racing driver. So, you know, I can't wait to see what goes on in lobby B, lobby C. We're not going to be on board with that, of course. But, you know, the stories that come out of these kind of championships, I mean, Alie, the only slight, like, small jigsaw piece out of this beautiful 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, for me, that's missing is a Toyota Avensis. That's it.
I know.
That's the only thing that's missing, and it would complete it. It would complete it, but we'll do all right with 99.9% of the pieces. It's fine.
Well, we miss our Avensis, don't we? It's a lovely car to have over on Forza 6. Shame to see it gone. I mean, but you said it so right just there, Melish. If you're not hitting lobby A, that is not the end of the world. And honestly, you're going to learn more by driving against people who are of equal, similar pace to you. Iron sharpens iron. There's no need, you know, if you're going to be racing against somebody who's going to be up the road from you, disappearing off the way, that's no fun at all. Get on the track with people your speed, get on the track and fight with every little bit, with every ounce of effort you've got to get that car as far up that field as you possibly can. I mean, barring people who, you know, are qualifying out of position, maybe made a mistake in qualifying, you know, if it's your pace, then just work on it and push forward, and you'll get there eventually. You know, we talked about this guy, this loser, Mitch 555 loser. It's a rough way, isn't it? But
that's a bit harsh.
I know. I heard myself say it. I was like, "Is that what you really think, Alie?"
You're that powerful, just momently before instant regret and guilt came forward.
I know. We heard, but you know, Mitch 555 has come up through the order, and you know, wasn't always a lobby A driver, and it's been the same story for every single driver out there. Maybe not on Forza Motorsport 7, but on previous games, you know, long enough ago, they had to work their way up as well. So. Yeah, I think just keep chipping away at it, and you'll get quicker and quicker. This is the fastest way to get fast, is to race against people who challenge you.
Yeah, and on top of that as well, any fast driver, any pro esports like Forza driver will tell you probably the way that they learned the fastest was racing against people that were faster than them. You know, around their like proximity and speed and faster. That's how you get faster. You don't get faster by giving yourself an easy ticket by, you know, going into C lobby and really you're a lot faster than that. You've got to, like you said, Alie, you've got to really push yourself and then push yourself even further. It always requires 110%.
You're so right. You're so right. Well, we are at a point in the stream that some of the very, very ancient YMTV regulars out there might remember. We haven't been at this point in the stream for a little while, but it's a little something that we and everybody else in the world calls Conversation Street. It's completely gypped from Top Gear, but it's the moment when the AOR officials are looking at all of the qualifying times. They've got all the different sheets from the different lobbies, and they're trawling through all that data and working out who's the very fastest, who goes up into lobby A, who gets set into lobby B, etc., down the order. And so, you know, they do an amazing job over at AOR, but it's a job that takes time. It's not a straightforward thing to do. So we're chilling right now. So this is a good moment if you're a tad thirsty, if you're cooking dinner, perhaps. I don't want to make assumptions about what you're up to in the evening, but whatever it is you're doing, if there's some itch that you got to scratch, my friend. Now's the time to do it.
Such pearls of wisdom from Alie. If you've got an itch, scratch it. Well, I tell you what my itch is, and it's race
go on. What grinds your gears?
It's race 1. I know that they've got to put, you know, there's 99 entrants. They've got to input all the data from all the times. I know this, and I get this. But even as a spectator, I'm just impatient by nature. You know, I'd rather just press the X button and we'll get cracking. But I know that's not the realistic way to do things. I just can't wait for that race 1. Remember, guys, we've got 3 races tonight. We've got race 1, which is going to be dependent, obviously, from qualifying results. Race 2, which will be, the grid positions will be set from the race 1 results, and race 3. And probably the most entertaining race you're going to see, or maybe not, I don't know, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say they're all going to be entertaining. But for me, the most entertaining is going to be the last race, race 3, which will be a reverse grid based off qualifying times. So we're going to see whoever starts in 16th in this first race is going to be starting in first in race number 3. And they're going to have everybody's eyes beaming down on them through this stream. And I tell you something, Ali, as a driver that does Le Mans, when you have that cam on you, and these drivers will have this chat open, they'll have the stream open, and they'll have a separate set of headphones in listening to it. Once it's on you, oh my God, the heat does not get more intense. It feels like someone's like with a magnifying glass on your forehead. It's searing pain. It's excruciating, but we enjoy it nevertheless.
Absolutely, we do. What a night we've got ahead of us. You know, I didn't realise that we had a reverse grid coming up at the end of the day. I like a reverse grid, you know. We've seen a few of them, of course, part of the Forza RC format last year. So we've had a little bit of reverse grid action recently, or relatively recently. I like a reverse grid still, you know. I think touring cars are a really good way to do it because they're so good at overtaking each other. They're so easy to, well, it's never easy, but it's possible to get side by side in a touring car, if you see what I'm saying.
And I think I agree with you. Dude, I completely agree with you. I'm not, as a driver, I'm not completely confident in touring cars as a driver, but as a spectator, and as a caster, there's nothing better. I don't think there's anything better. I really don't. I mean, like, I like open wheelers, but like, you can get that entanglement between the wheels, and you know, you could just, everyone's flying off if there's contact that way. Rear-wheel drive cars like the Ferrari P4, very twitchy, and you're on a knife edge all the time. Touring cars, it's like someone's put boxing gloves on you with a set of full wheels, and you're just punching people out the window, and they're just still there. They're coming back for more, and I just feel that, and I like that. I like that there's that scrappiness to it. I don't know whether it is in my, it's in my blood. You know, as being a Brit, that's what I enjoy. But I like it, and it's great as a spectator sport. I really do think it's in its own class.
Well, speaking of people who get hit but keep coming back, let's hop over to get a hot lap from somebody who's had some awful luck in the Touring Car Championships in the past. That's Jota Commando, who's been kind enough to show us how he gets around this circuit.
The way for the first round of the AOR TCC, Jota Commando showed us the pace we should be expected to see here at Brands Hatch Indy.
Okay, so here we are, trail braking now into turn 1, pad the kill, hitting the curb on the inside, using as much of the curb on the outside as we can to get a good run out up into Druids. Braking at that board there on the left hand side, now hugging the curb here on the inside, getting on the power as soon as possible. From second up into third, now we stay in third, looking for the white border on the outside there on the right. Again, 2 wheels on the inside curb there, Graham Hill using as much of the track as we can on exit once again. Now coming down the Cooper Straight, you want to get the 2 left wheels now on the curb there, Surtees. Get a good braking point now for McLaren. 2 wheels on the curb again, hugging this curb on the inside, making sure we get on the throttle as soon as possible, keep that turbo spooled up, and there we go, exiting Clark's, coming down the Brabham Straight. Brands Hatch Indy, a very small but very technical track.
I don't know where Commando gets those from. He reached into his pocket and just seems to be able to pull out a stinking hot lap time, whatever he does. I will tell you though, Melish, Commando, when we touched on it a little bit earlier, he's had some terrible luck in TCC in the past. Very, very fast driver, somebody who knows to be fast in front-wheel drive, but always finds himself in the barrier, always finds himself being helped off of the track surface, and hasn't ever really been in with a chance of taking a championship win at the touring cars on Forza. Do you reckon this is his year? Could this be Commando's year?
Well, he's been on the rise, Ali. He's been on the rise. We've seen him in the Le Mans Esports Series. He's won like 4, I think 4 out of the 5 qualifying rounds. He is on the rise. I think he's priming himself. He's recently joined Jota, and I think that he's coming. It may be a little bit late. He's not getting any younger, Ali. We're not going to get any younger. But you know,
Yeah.
he's on the rise right now. I think he's
Speak
going
for
to be in
yourself.
prime position. he's in a prime position to actually. I think he's going to, you know, get a good wrap of points here. If I'm honest. But the question remains is, this isn't just an individual championship, Ali. It's a team championship. Now, we have got whispers in the YouTube chat that I'm constantly keeping my beady eyes on, that Tactical is having slight concerns that he's not made Lobby A. And if anybody knows Tactical in the Forza community, he does nothing but front-wheel drive. So if he's struggling to get into Lobby A, I'm starting to question, how tight those times are. How tight is it to get into Lobby A? What
You know
here?
what, mate?
I mean, wrong predictions.
I hear you that it's going to be competitive to get into Lobby A, but if I don't believe that I've ever seen Tactical come away from qualifying and say, you know what, I did a sweet job there and I'm going to win this round. he's got a very perfectionist eye, as has Tactical, I think, for his laps, and is somebody who's able to pick them apart maybe a little bit too easily, not able to give himself a pat on the back from time to time. I expect we'll see Tactical in a Lobby. Prove me wrong, but hopefully we will. And I certainly expect that we will. It depends what the lap time is, of course. 47.5. That's what I reckon the cutoff's going to be. 47.5. Was it below that?
47.5. I'm going to say 47.3. So I'm within 2 tenths of it. It's pretty close, but you know, the margins are still there. I have to say though, the way that you're talking about how drivers set themselves up is so common in the Forza community. I think it's almost like standard practice. You set yourself up for failure. You did an all right job, but then you convince yourself that you didn't do an all right job and you didn't do very well. And you'll tell everybody that you didn't do very well. And then you'll act all surprised. You'll actually convince yourself, and then you'll be all surprised and happy when it comes to, I make Lobby A. And I think that's standard practice amongst all the top drivers. Because if you set yourself up for disappointment, then there is nothing where you're not going to get hurt. You're not going to get this. You can't get any more disappointed. I do that.
It breaks the bleeding heart, Mesh, because I was commentating this morning. I was commentating the Le Mans Esports Series Asia round, and after that race, the bloke who came last was like message on Twitter saying like, I'm really sorry for not performing really well. I thought I was going to do better. And it's like that was his first ever competitive race. This guy had qualified through a leaderboard, earned his spot on the grid, done all of that rigmarole to get himself there. For me, that's already a win. You've done it. You got there, and now you just go out there, you get the experience, you put that experience in your pocket, and you take it on for next time. It's all about learning, and this is the same thing that we were saying as well about Lobby B, Lobby C. It's not a bad thing to be there. It's in fact quite good. It makes you progress better. It gives you more valuable lessons and more to learn and more to take from it, and you get faster quicker.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's when we're sat back and analysing it and become psychologists of the Forza community, it's all about development, and you take it one step at a time. But as a driver, you want to run before you can walk, and that's just in the moment. You're never happy with what you do. How many times have we been in circumstances and situations where people have won races and they're still not happy? Oh, I didn't hit that lap time. Yeah, but dude, you just won the race. Like, yeah, but I didn't really that. Like, as a driver in the Forza community, it's like you're almost never satisfied. You're always looking for something better. And yeah, I think that's just common practice. I've done it, and I know a lot of other people do it. But it's always this idea of setting yourself up for disappointment. And sitting here with you, Ali, all I can say is don't set yourself up for disappointment. Just don't. It's okay to be upset. But don't set yourself up for it. That's what I'm saying. Psychology 101 with Ali and Manish. That's what I'm saying.
Welcome to Psychology Hour. This has been a little stroll down Conversation Street. It's been good so far. We'll probably take a little. We're not quite there yet. Behind us, there's a whole bunch of houses that we've walked past already. Conversation houses. There are a couple more to go before we get to the wonderful junction of race number 1. So we're still waiting a little bit. Is what I'm saying there is we're still waiting a moment or two for the great people at AOR to get all those qualifying times tallied up. And it's a perfect opportunity, Melish, for me to do what grinds my gears, right?
Go for it.
Small tracks, 6-corner tracks. I love calling them sausages. I love making up names for them, but
yep.
do they have a place in top level esports racing, or do you need to give the drivers more of a challenge?
Ooh, that's a tough question, and that's not a simple yes or no. That's not a binary response to that, because I think it depends on what kind of division of car you're racing. Because some of the tracks we're going to go to later on in the calendar, we're going to be seeing the likes of Sonoma Short, quite a few other short tracks as well. I think Mugello Club Circuit, something you wouldn't normally see in a championship, regardless of its community or esports. But I think it's totally relatable to touring cars. I think that's what you want with touring cars. You know, you want a track that, you know, if you go into the pits, people are going to lap you. You're always going to come out in carnage. You never. It sets up. It's like there's like a list of ingredients that you have. Short tracks, touring cars, right? And pit lane's bigger than the actual track itself in terms of time. And what you get with all of that is, whenever you come out of a pit, you never get a breather. You never get time to not look in your rear view. You never get time to not sweat or hold in your breath every corner. And for me, that's what creates that excitement. So yes, I would say they do have a place, but only when they're related to the cars that are going to be driven on them. I personally wouldn't want to see, you know, Forza P2 cars around Brands Hatch Indy. I don't think the side-by-side racing would be very good. It'd be too fast. It'd be over before a blink of an eye. And you wouldn't be able to go side-by-side because they'd be super twitchy. But with touring cars, it's ideal. So yes and no, depending on what you're running on the tracks.
I agree completely. I mean, I can see what you're saying. I said I agreed, and I agreed too quick. I went too quick with that, I think. I want to temper my agreement.
Take it back.
No guilty taxis. Oh, no. I guess I agree then. That's it.
That's the end of that conversation.
it goes one way and the other, though. You're absolutely right. There's two arguments for it. You know, I think it's a test of racecraft round a short track like this. It's not a test of necessarily putting a lap together. I think it's not that challenging to put 6 corners together. I know before everyone screams at me, I know it's hard. I couldn't do it. I couldn't get into Lobby A, but it's still 6 corners. It's not the Nordschleife. There's a lot less opportunities for mistakes there. This is going to come down to racecraft, though, at the end of the day. When the cars are on the track, when we're actually racing in anger, which is going to be happening very, very soon indeed. So do stay in your seats, or get yourself a cup of tea. Actually, that offer remains open. But when we do get racing, it's going to be all about just getting the shoulders out, getting those cars sliding through each other, and getting up that field. And that's not going to come down so much as it might normally to how fast you are on one lap. It's going to come down to how good you are at positioning that car correctly and reading what the cars around you are up to and optimizing on that, taking advantage.
I have to say, Ali, if we're going to focus on certain parts of this track, I mean, like you said, there's only 6 corners. But there are huge 6 corners. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't say in not so recent updates, but the first curb, I remember when we did the mini challenge here, in the Mini Cooper, and at the time you couldn't run over that curb into the first corner. It was a big no. Paddock Hill Bend, if you went over that curb, you were going into that sand trap, or you were taking people with you. It's as simple as that. They fixed it. So now really you've got more leeway into how many cars you can really have, you know, side by side going through there. I still wouldn't recommend, you know, more than 2, but for the sake of entertainment, give it a crack. Like, just give 3 cars a crack around there. It'd be amazing. But for me, I mean, I think for me, the all-time decider, I like this track. I don't really do a lot of practice on it, but I do like it. I like how simple it is. For me, it's all about McLaren going through Clark Curve. That is a momentum-based corner. And for me, I always thought that you would always go wide and cut back in. But then as I've learned and as I've tried to, like, you know, shade the small milliseconds off my time, I feel that it's always about taking the shortest line. So following that curb round, it has little bumps on that curb, so you got to be careful. You can't take too much curb, and you certainly can't run on the grass. But you want to take just such a tight line, but they extend out towards the outside curve. We saw Commando do it there. But you've got to be super careful. If you're going to be battling, you've got to watch that big sand trap, because that is just going to be an absolute killer. Such a small track. If you're losing a second, you know, you've lost a good portion of the track's distance here. So, you know, I think most importantly is just keep your wheels clean. Keep the dirt off them. That's my
Yeah,
advice.
no, you're right. You're right, and it just takes a little. Other drivers, and I know I'm guilty of this when I'm racing in a pack. You kind of judge somebody else's right to a space on the road by how well they're planted on there, as well as where they are. So if a car is like 2 wheels off the road, it's tempting sometimes just to say, you know what, that's where you are, and I'm going to slide my car up right next to you and make it impossible for you to get back all 4 wheels onto the asphalt. It just takes little signs of weakness like that for people to put opportunistic moves on you, and those can really slow you down, and bog you down during the race.
Well, I have to say, like, I feel that this has got more overtaking opportunities than the Nordschleife. If you think about it, and I'm not exaggerating, I honestly think that because, you can, if you get the right line out of Paddock Hill Bend, you can get them in there. You can go up the inside into Druids. So you got that overtaking opportunity. A lot of people to take the fastest line of this track. No, wait. A lot of people. Well, that's still more than the Nordschleife. If you just take one, right?
Already more than the
Nordschleife. The fastest lap through, the fastest way through turn 3 is across the grass. I learned that in the Aston Martin. You've got to go across the grass and then extend out so 2 tires over the curb on the way out. If you do that, you run the risk of actually hitting the curb wrong, and you have to let off the gas to, well, maybe not in front wheel drive, but you'll lose a bit of time there. So you can get up the inside there. You can't really make a move into turn 4 through Surtees. Yeah. But then it's the run out of McLaren. So for me, 3 overtaking possibilities this track, which is 3 more than you're going to get in the Nordschleife. And I don't care what you say, Ali. Right? That is golden, and that is fact.
Okay. Well, there we are. I mean, I guess there's nothing I can say in response because it's a fact. So more overtaking opportunities than the Nordschleife. I want that on a T-shirt. Just that bit of it. It's going to be awesome. I mean, it's a short little track. There's 3 opportunities that we've just talked about there. Turn 2, that's turn 3, I guess, and then also just at the outside of the last corner. I guess that's the end of turn 5. Does it count as 2 turns? Turn 6, turn 5?
I don't know.
So there's a few places where you can overtake, but there's also, and those are kind of legitimate overtaking places. That you can also throw it on a car if that car's slowing down. Anywhere on this track, it's wide enough. There's enough elbow room there to really sneak a car up, on the inside, on the outside, anywhere you want.
And also with this, Ali, I have to say that obviously we talk about pit lanes. I'm not entirely sure on the structure if we're going to have a mandatory pit. It is sometimes customary, but not always, an absolute. So we don't know. We don't know whether there's going to be a mandatory pit stop, or I should know, but I don't know. But if it is, let's think about this. Let's think about this practically. If you're taking the full Brands Hatch, you're braking on the left-hand side and cutting through, and you get like a faster run this time, and you extend out. So you're extending back out, but on this track, if you keep into that inside line, some people have this natural instinct to slow down before they get to the pit entrance. Because, and it gets a lot of people. This is a very, very common mistake. People will practice and practice and practice for a track, but no one ever practiced a pit entry. They didn't do it at Autosport, and they don't do it. They just don't do it. They don't practice a pit entry. So what you will see is people will go into the pits and not realize it's not a straight line. It's got big tire walls there, and so some people actually slow down before they get onto the pit lane. So, slowing down before the pit lane, actually, you're slowing down on the racing line. And I would adhere, I would absolutely advise people not to do that. And going forward, practice pit entries. I know it sounds stupid, and it sounds simple, but it could save you a lot of time. How many times have we seen people crash going into the pit lanes? It's too many times, Ali.
I completely agree. And every single time at this track specifically, we end up having that discussion. Someone's gone straight through the tyres on the way into the pits. Yep, that's the straight line. That's faster. But is that legal for this series? Are they going to get punished after the race? Do you have to follow the pit lane track limits as well as the normal track limits? Every single time at this track without fail. I wonder whether or not there's been a driver briefing here. And if we're gonna find out a little bit earlier on that one, do drop it in the chat if you know the answer already. I will say though, me, Bellish, a few people listening into this chat we've been walking down Conversation Street. We've been strolling down past the tenement flats on the left. On the right, we'll paint you a picture here. There's perhaps a museum with a faux Grecian fascia on the against the street. We've passed that though, and that's behind us now, and we're reaching the corner of the street, and there's a shop on the corner, and we go inside the shop. We look inside. Oh, what's that in the corner? It's a mini freezer. Oh, awesome. Open the freezer, and inside of it is free ice cream. And that's what's happening right now in this stream. It's the free ice cream of qualifying results happening right here for you. Williams Mitch takes pole position with a 46.9, the only driver in the entire competition to hit a 46. Everybody else in the 47s. Williams 7, 9,900ths of a second behind, so almost a 10th behind Williams Mitch. That's a Williams 1-2. Aerox Ridge is going to be in third position. What a great performance from Ridge. AMR Lucky in fourth. Wow, Lucky way up there in a very competitive field, and not a driver that I know well. AML Lucky 7, I don't think that's the same as Lucky Sod, who we see from time to time. That's a different driver. Fifth place is Tactical, so easily in Lobby A. FCT Sam in sixth. Aerox Bokit, seventh place. You know who I'm not seeing here is Jota Commando at all. Williams Roadrunner in 8th, GTR Commando in 9th, Sean 1528 in 10th position with AMS Mercs in 11th, Barcode's 12th, Mac Gaming in 13th, Krav in 14th, then we've got Barry and Aerox Vane rounding out the field. So a very competitive qualifying session here in Brands Hatch Indy, and Jota Commando, did he come out to play today, Mellish, or is he just slipped up in quali?
Well, we having a few communications with him earlier on, and he said he may potentially not be able to make the race. So, you know, not a great start. Not a great start, but people do have live commitments, and I think because of that, I think you do get you can miss one race off the calendar. Well, that's how it's done that's how it's been for the whole time that TCC has been around on Forza. So it may not be, I don't know, but that's not a very good start. Good luck for Tactical though. But I have to say, Alie, you just read that list of names down, and I just like looking at your graphics, by the way. So I was confused, I was mesmerized by that. But just getting back on point. We're getting whispers that these are not quite correct. There's been a bit of a malfunction behind the scenes, so we don't really know. I would like to think that Mitch is the only person in the 46s with a 0.9 just scraping in. I would like to think that, because that just proves that Mitch is back where he belongs. And the fact that the qualifying lobby that we were with, no one's actually made it in through there, which is really sad to see. And I shouldn't be laughing, but that's just the case of it. But FCT
Sam made it through. I will though.
Of course.
Just in case, I'm going to get these out of your face, everyone. You don't have to look at them anymore. I wonder if there might be some incorrectitude happening here. So we're going to just hop back to take the old step back. You know what happened, Mellish? We went on this long hot walk. The sun was beating down on Conversation Street, and I saw ice cream, and I just went for it. You know,
and now it's melted.
What do you want? And now it's melted, and it's all down my shirt, and I'm crying, and I want another one.
Hey, man, for people that don't understand Alie's English, his whole conversation is just one big metaphor. And it's kind of like, it does get to an accommodation where it will get to a point where, oh, that's what he meant. And basically what it means is the ice cream is a metaphor for the lifetime, is the qualifying results. We haven't seen them yet, and I know that I think it's customary. Everyone's nerves are flying high right now to get this, to get everything working. There's so many cogs working, and we want to see the qualifying times more than you want to see them. And they're just not there. They're just not there. Just bring them up.
I tell you what, Mesh.
Just give me
there's a sweet spot. There's a sweet spot of exactly 0.5 of a second between when people start understanding my metaphor and then between when people start getting incredibly irritated by my metaphors. So there's not understanding, then there's irritated. And between the two, I would say there's 0.5 seconds. And that's my sweet spot right there for when people are like, this Alie guy's all right. He's a cool guy. and then it's like, oh yeah, okay, I see, I get it.
Are you trying
yeah.
to describe the love-hate process that people have for you? So what you're saying is they listen to what you say as like a parable, and then they don't understand you, and they hate you for it, and then it suddenly clicks in their head, and then like, oh, it's not that bad actually. That kind of makes sense. Oh, Ali, just say it as it is. There's no harm in not beating the bush. You don't have to. I do. I love it. I love it. Like if you were to write a book just in metaphors, I'd buy it. I'd buy it. But basically, you could write in one sentence, I want to see the qualifying times.
I'm gone, dearie me.
Oh God. You're not going to get this anywhere else, guys. So if you, I just want to plug this. You're not going to get this anywhere else. So if you're not subscribed already, please like and subscribe this video and this channel, because we've got a whole calendar here, and it's also streaming live on Facebook as well. So please do get involved. And as well, if you're liking what you're seeing and you think, damn it, I missed the first race, not to worry, you can still sign up at any point, even if it's for the last race, and we do implore you to do that. We do.
And keep in mind that if you do sign up, which we hope you do, there's plenty. I mean, there's already almost 100 competitors out here, so there's a large field, regardless of your racing skill. If you're saying, "Oh, I'd love to do something like that, but actually I'm not so much into this. I'm not very good at it." Don't worry about it. There's going to be there's a lobby down there for you somewhere. Maybe up there. Who knows? Maybe you come straight in and you're the fastest person in the world. That's great too. We'd love to see it. Come and get in here. Either way, do come out racing. Also, as a little added bonus, you get immortalized as an adorable little isometric vehicle that can sit there on the spotter's guide in the bottom of our B-roll while we go up and down Conversation Street for a few minutes. It's yeah, it's a pretty sick series, the TCC, and we don't do it every single day of the week, so it's always a good one to get involved with.
Absolutely, and what strikes me is that I'm just looking at the calendar. You know, we're going to be here obviously at Brands Hatch Itchy. We've got Brands Hatch Indy. Sorry, we've got 18 laps today for 3 races. That is going to be so sick, and I'm looking forward to that. And then we got Le Mans Bugatti circuit. Now that's not particularly something that strikes TCC in mind for me. I'm super interested to see how that goes. We got Mugello Club Circuit, Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. We always have Laguna Seca. It doesn't pop up enough in multiplayer, so I'm really happy that it has this time round. Hockenheim Full Circuit, which is probably going to be one of the biggest tracks on the calendar. Catalonia National Circuit, Nissan, the high speed S section. Brilliant, I love it. Going to be carnage there. Brands Hatch GP Circuit, so it's going to be Brands Hatch Indy plus, and then we got Sonoma Short Circuit to just, you know, cut the ribbon off the end of this calendar. And I think that looks like a fantastic calendar, Ali. I'm super happy. Not something that we usually see. Most of these tracks you wouldn't usually see. And I think it's nice that they've brought them in. They've incorporated them in.
You know, I absolutely love Bugatti circuit. You were saying you're not quite sure about it for a TCC track. I absolutely love the idea of Le Mans Bugatti for this series. I think it's such a brilliant circuit. It's so good.
Of course you
I
would.
love. Of course you would. I'm not going to dig into that today. I do think it's brilliant though. I think it's got it's just the right vibe. The track is kind of a little bit thin. It's very bumpy. There's plenty of sort of, you know, that sort of gritty tier 2 feel to it that I think suits TCC cars down to the ground, and that's a fact.
Well, I can't argue facts.
That's all
I'm saying facts, and you're saying facts, and we're saying facts together.
Yeah,
Facts
together. Sitting here
Nice.
telling each other facts. That's what we're at.
You've got the qualifying.
Welcome to the stream, everyone.
Hold on.
Let's tell everyone where they are. You're at the AOR Apex Online Racing Touring Car Championship. It's a pleasure to have you along. Thank you for being a part of the stream. I know that we're 50 minutes into this thing and haven't got any racing for you yet. I get it. It sucks. We'll get there. The hard-working people behind this championship are doing an incredible job right now, collating all the qualifying results. We've got some up on screen here. We think there may be a couple of drivers missing from it yet, so we'll have to update those as we go. But they're putting the results together at the moment. We'll get there. We'll get racing very shortly indeed.
Yeah, I have to say, if that's accurate, and Mitch was the only person to get in the 46, it just pays a testament to how interesting and intriguing the qualifying structure is at AOR in the fact that you get only 4 laps. 4 laps to get your best lap in, and sometimes that just ain't enough. It certainly is enough for me to do it in 4 laps, and I know some of these guys will be rattled by that because they know what they can put down, but to put it down in 4 laps is a whole different kettle of fish. So congratulations to Mitch for making that 0.9, the only person to get in the 46s. But the one name that's I'm just focused on right now is AMR. AMR Lucky. Well, now we know who AMR is. Obviously, AMR, the painter, who was in the FRC last season, had content of his own. That was a painting side. I thought for I think not so long ago, Alie, AMR were on like the raggedy edge of quitting. They were disgruntled, disheveled. They didn't really have a team. They didn't have the organization behind it. And here they are, starting 4th on the grid.
Wow.
So I'm going to be super interested to see what they can do.
I mean, I don't know that's going to be where they start yet. As we've said, that these results, we're not sure. There's a few people saying that maybe they've seen different things happening on track, and there's data that needs to be input yet. Nonetheless, AMR, I can't believe how strong they're looking at the moment. There's only so many times you can be surprised. You know, I was chatting just the other day to one of the AMR drivers after one of the Le Mans Esports Series races, and saying this exact same thing. You know, wow, this team's gone from being a very small outfit to being someone who's up there at the very top of Forza in no time at all. And here we are again saying exactly the same thing on a different stage. It's the Apex Online Racing Touring Car Championship, but just as competitive as any of the other esports events out there, and a great lap thrown in by this young driver. So I'm just excited to see AMR Lucky throw it down on track.
Yeah, we're still getting reports that the times are incorrect, and I hope for Lucky's sake that isn't the case. I hope for anybody's sake that isn't the case. You know, the drivers will know where they stand. The drivers know what times they got. They will be able to work this out. We unfortunately cannot do that. And I have to say, Alie, just on a quick side note, completely unrelated, have you noticed how Craviator is running under a Jota team? And I saw him this morning, and I think you and Adzi were running Jota paints. So I'm not one for speculation, but I think there's something going on with JSR and Jota. I think there's something going on, and I think we're going to see it soon. Just adding 2 and 2 together, I think we're going to see JSR, you know, transform into Jota. I don't know, and it's not. I'm not saying this is true, but I'm just collecting the evidence, being a good detective.
Right. Hey, I mean, that would be out of this world. So what you're saying is you're seeing JSR drivers right now running with Jota liveries, the two coming together a little bit, a meeting of worlds happening there, perhaps.
Yeah.
I love the sound of it. I love the sound of it so much, and I can't wait to see what unfolds in the coming days and weeks. But wow, isn't that interesting? Let's see if we can get a little bit of Craviator on stream just for a second or two here. We can have a little look at that livery on the stream for you. Craviator here parks up in the pit lane. We're just throwing the camera on him. You can see that Jota sponsor there on the side of his car. Of course, the very famous LMP team who picked up one of their drivers just recently. That's Jota Commando, of course. And JSR and Jota having a really strong relationship for a long time. So interesting stuff. My tinfoil hat is firmly on, but I'm loving it.
Yeah, and I love the Jota colors as well. I think for me, what makes a great team is not just, you know, the abbreviation or, you know, what they call themselves. It's also the team colors, and it's very important to me, this. So I think Jota have gone right. They've gone for like a Halloween theme. It's white, black, orange, sort of like a pumpkin. I don't know if there's any white with a pumpkin, but I like it. I like that. And I saw when they were running the P4 at Le Mans Esports Series, it was purely black and orange from what I could see. Looked terrific, absolutely terrific. And hopefully there's going to be some succession behind the scenes between those two teams merging together. Because let's be honest, Alie, if you're not getting picked up, you're going to get left behind. And what's happening in the Forza community right now, we've just seen the emergence of Red Bull Racing, picking up Venom, Box and Lade. That's going to be a force to reckon with in future esports events. And I think that Jota have come at the right time, and not a saving grace for JSR. JSR will always be around, but how cool would it be to have Jota leading like a 3-man esports team in association with JSR? Because all the JSR guys are super fast.
I mean, I love that idea. So that's a fun idea. We'll have to wait and see what JSR think about that. Imagine Jota will want a vote in that as well. And sadly, the entire deal can't happen because the two of us have dreamt it up. But yeah, it would be amazing, wouldn't it? It's been a really interesting time for Forza, hasn't it? The pro scene really growing and becoming, you know, more and more viable as genuinely a pro scene, a place where people almost don't need to work and do Forza for their living. Looking around, you know, since it's been, how long has it been since we last did a touring car championship match? Maybe 2 years, maybe a little bit less than that, 18 months. In that period of time, a huge amount has changed in the map of Forza. You know, the topography of this thing has changed altogether. We've got Williams Esports these days. You've heard of them, I think, Mellish, driving for them, as you do. We've got or Williams Gym, or, you know, whatever. I don't know the right nomenclature for that, but, you know, amazing team there. We've got, you know, huge amounts of other teams, Lazarus out there as well.
Yeah.
We've seen all sorts of things coming and going. Veloce have dipped their toe into Forza in that time. Very, very interesting. Yeah, and a big change. It's nice to see, though, that even with all that change, the people who love touring cars, the people who love close racing, doesn't matter what's on the front of their name. Doesn't matter if it's Williams Mitch, if it's Mitch 555, or if it's AMS Roadrunner or Williams RR. They're still going to come out here and race and have a great time, because touring car is where it's at and what people love doing. So I love to see that although some things do change and for the better, a few things as well, they stay the same.
Yeah, and I think the best community championships / esports championships always brings out the best drivers as well. I think the last time I saw Venom, or we commentated Venom in a race, was when he was with F4H, and I think it was the Porsche Cup, the AOR Porsche Cup. Remember, that was one of the very first championships we did, and I can't remember seeing him since then. So, you know, he's kind of like jumped off the top shelf of the cabinet, dusted himself off, and he's here ready to race. And I love it. I love it. We didn't actually see his name.
Oh, you say that. You say he's here running the race. I haven't seen him out today. I haven't seen him on the qualifying order. So I think maybe he's in the series, but might not be out here at Brands Hatch this week. Perhaps he's.
Give a man a break. I can hope.
In fact, I can tell you, Mellish, that he's racing in the Le Mans Esports Series this evening, and I think there's going to be an overlap between us and them. So I expect that he won't be out here. Although I'm sure he wishes that he could have been. Yeah, I think we might just see his teammates. That's Type R very much in the top lobby, and of course Slipstream as well. SCT Slipstream, the other member of that sort of very elite team, will be out here. Type R though, Mellish. Let's talk about that guy a little bit. Running a JSR livery here, which I like to see. I like to see a bit of that community repping, but also we haven't seen him around since what? Series 2 of the AOR TCC. So we're talking 3 years ago now.
Super Trophy. YMTV Super Trophy stuff.
Dang, yeah, all right. That's a deep cut.
But he only comes out. You know, I think that I spoke to him the other day. Type R. He's such a gentleman, and he races GT endurance, but he doesn't actually like GT. It's not his cup of tea. But he races it because he likes the clean racing. His thing is touring cars. It's front-wheel drive. You know, if you see him in a GT lobby, he's more than likely to be running the Audi TT RS, the only front-wheel drive GT car in that homologation division. So this again is prime territory for him, and I really honestly believe, without Venom here, it's going to be a battle between Mitch and Type R.
Wow.
Tactical's up there as well.
Big words.
Tactical's up there as well. I don't think this is a two-horse race, by no stretch of the imagination. But when it comes down to it, like, how many times have we seen Mitch come from the back of the pack? How many times have we seen Type R come from the back of the pack? These are very calculated drivers. They know their pit strategies. You know, they know how to make moves. They know how to complete and successfully make passes on people. And on a track like this, you need that confidence. On a track like Brands Hatch, it's confidence-based. And I think that those two guys are brimming with it when it comes to front-wheel drive.
Well, yeah, I agree. I agree. And you know, hearing everything you're saying there just makes me smile, because that makes me think we're in for a classic
Treat.
TCC here. We're in for a real treat. Exactly. We're going to have another little go at qualifying times, because the lobby A is filling up, and we're certainly getting there. We're certainly getting there with those. I think we're gonna throw these ones up on the screen, because I do think that after all that backwards and forwards and to and fro,
Fingers crossed.
well, fingers crossed. I'm trying to look at them as I can see. Let's all have a look at them together, rather than having me sitting here chatting about something that you guys can't see. Have a look at them with me. Looking at that myself, I can't see JSR Type R on there. I can't see a few of the members of this lobby. So perhaps there's something slipping up in my communication that's getting this data for us. So perhaps there's something going a little bit awry there, rather than something going awry on ORL's end. Do keep in mind that, of course, it goes through a little bit of a translation process between getting itself to the broadcast and being on the very intricate back end that the adjudicators use. So it may be something that's just slipping up there. We're seeing some different drivers in this lobby as compared to the drivers that we're seeing on the qualifying results graphic.
Are you telling me, Ali, that I have to wait to be excited, or can I just, under false pretenses, under misinformation, can I just, just go for it? Because
I don't think. I mean, you can be. I don't think that I can stop you from being excited. I don't think that.
No, you
I don't
can't,
think I'm
baby.
able. I feel like, sometimes in cartoons there's like that picture of someone's brain. It's just like a donkey under a cork tree. I think a picture of your brain. It's like incredible synapses blasting everywhere, like the fastest thing happening ever. Just pure excitement. I love it.
I do. I don't know what it is about me. I just get excited. Things like that. I do. You're absolutely right. But obviously, what you're seeing on screen there, and what I can see in the lobby, I can actually. Do you want me to run through a few names? Because
let's go through some names.
So Mitch definitely confirmed. 7 confirmed. Barry's in here. Barry, great job from Barry. He runs with the JSR guys quite a lot. He's in the same kind of time zone there. So great to see him. Tactical, the guy that set himself up for disappointment, is now going to set himself up for success. His teammate Commander isn't here tonight, so he's going to be running Privateer and trying to rack up as many points as he can for his team. JSR Craviator running for Jota team here. Type R, his teammate in JSR/Jota. Whisper, whisper, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I don't know what's going on there. And then we've got GTR Cami. We don't see often enough. He, kind of does endurance races here and there, but he's here tonight. AMS Mercs, great job of him. He usually runs with Williams Mitch, so he's got the pace. Matt Gaming, a Forza streamer, looking great. Absolutely fantastic for him. He's in the Audi RS3 LMS. Bokit, a force to be reckoned with this year, 2018/2019. A guy to look out in the future. Sean. Who is Sean? 1528. We've got numbers in front of a name. Is that a gamer tag that was prescribed by Xbox? We don't know. But Sean is here. We don't even know he's a privateer. I want to learn more about him. And my very own TUS Barcode is here. One of the more recent additions to TUS. And then we've got Vane and Rich. Vane used to be part of JSR. Now back with his old teammates, Aerox. And I think that's a good move for him, because he's going to be spearheading this Aerox team with him and Bokit. It's going to be good.
Before this championship kicked off, I guess we're still in the case before this championship kicked off, but it's going to be kicking off very, very shortly. Either way, about a week ago, I put out a tweet chatting about which drivers I was most excited about, new young drivers who haven't really seen out there yet, coming to the TCC. And Barcode was somebody I didn't quite mention. He went through my head.
Should've.
And I thought
You should have.
I thought, no, I'm going to put this other person there instead. And he's the only one from that whole conversation who's made it into this this top lobby. So massive kudos to TUS Barcode. Let's get him up here on stream so you can see him. That's not how we do that. Let's get him up here on stream so you can see him. Barcode here in the grey and yellow. That's the Audi RS3, so the new Audi to Forza Motorsport 7. And up here in a lobby, nice performance from Barcode. I'm sure he'll be very happy with himself for that.
I think he's going to be great on track, and I think this is a huge learning curve for him. He's already got himself up here. Absolute disappointment for me though, heartbreak almost. Recently there was a qualifier for people in the Forza community to join and be a part of the Heart Racing team. The Heart Racing team, and that consisted of Harmonic, who is going to be running alongside Venom in the Le Mans Sports Series. but also Spectre, TUS Spectre. And unfortunately, I don't think we've got all the people in this lobby, but I'm not seeing his name, which only suggests, you know, I'm only building the assumption that he didn't just quite make it into lobby A, but that's no shame to him, no shame whatsoever. You know, it was so nice to get a Heart Racing team in here, and I think that's something, a team that we should be focusing on a little bit more closely, providing they get into lobby A as well, because I think they're only going to get stronger and stronger as the calendar continues.
You know, I completely agree. I think it's so cool that a team who take part in TCR racing in America, so touring cars out there, sort out, you know, this is all their own initiative. They lent into it, sort out some Forza drivers to come and race for them. They want to be a part of this community. They want to be having some people out there repping them. And what great drivers they got in TUS Spectre and Harmonic to represent them. And of course, Spectre out here in the AOR TCC, maybe not in a lobby, but somewhere out there, he's wearing that red and white livery that says Heart. And yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah, super good to know. I mean, you know, we meant to have 16 in here, obviously, and there's 2 of us. So just, you know, simple mathematics. I think we're missing, actually, there's 3 of us. So that there's 2 people missing. If I'm correct, I think there's 2 people missing from this lobby. We don't know who that is. I think I'm right. Hold on. 17. Take away 3.
I think you're right.
14.
Yeah, take away
2 is 16.
14.
Yeah, no, just
carry the
confirming.
3 over 1.
I didn't do well in mental arithmetics. But there we are.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. We're just waiting right now for maybe a couple more drivers. We may still be sort of working through some issues with live timing. I am hearing for any of you guys out there in the chat that, you know, that there have been 1 or 2 slip-ups. Do keep in mind that these are all, of course, accidental things. You know, we're all getting into our groove here on this championship. So you know, have a little bit of patience for the guys at AOR TCC. They're working very, very hard right now, and yeah, bringing some great racing to you very shortly indeed. In the meantime, Melish, while we wait for the first race to kick off,
Yes.
we haven't done any predictions yet. We usually don't do predictions, and I don't want to predict a winner in this race.
I don't either.
I don't want to predict a winner, but I do want to predict. I want you to predict
A shining star
me,
amongst the rest. Go on, sorry.
the opposite of the shining star. Actually, this is a new prize that we're going to be doing. This is
lemon.
for the person. Did they race? Were they there? Championship.
Who
which
did we not say?
driver-
Where's Wally?
Which
wanna
driver
do Where's
won't we
Wally?
see? Where's Wally? which one is it, Melish? Who's it going to be who we're not actually going to notice for the rest of these 3 races?
Oh, that's horrible, because that's just like pointing your finger at someone and going, you're not going to do very well. But that's not very, that's not
No,
necessarily
because if you don't
true.
do,
That just
if
means
you
you're
do
the
really
great
badly,
man.
you'll be on there as well. You have to be really average.
Yeah. Who's gonna be average amongst the top 16? Well, surely not. It's not right. Let's go through these. It's not gonna be Mitch because he's starting on pole. It's not gonna be 7 because it's Williams. Barry, no, it's not gonna be Barry. Tactical's used. Craviator's gonna lag bomb somebody, so it's definitely not gonna be Craviator. Typar's gonna be in there. I think it's gonna be Cammy. Cammy's always there, but he's never making those. I've never seen Cammy make silly moves. He's never kind of put a toe out of line. He always races with his own parameters of comfort, and he'll do relatively well by doing that. But he doesn't overstep the mark. And for me, that's the reason why I would choose GTR Cammy as a great man. It's GTR Cammy.
What I will say with Cammy though, Melish, is we haven't seen Cammy race for a little while. It's actually been maybe he didn't take part in the Forza Racing Championship last year. We haven't caught up with him there. He did take part in a championship that neither of us covered, and that was the Porsche Experience, something like that, championship, which took place in Europe last year. He did very well in that, actually going to, I think, 2 live events during it. Ultimately beaten by Bam Anto, I want to say. Once upon a time, Bam, I guess, pour a bit of your drink out on the floor for Bam. So Cammy has, Chin Chin, and Cammy has gone away and he's got some great experience. He's got a whole new set of skills, and I wonder whether or not he might be a driver who's really revitalized here in 2019 in the AOR TCC. That said, then I know what you're going
Yeah.
to ask me next, Melish. I know what you're going to say to me. You're going to say, who is my grey man then? Who do I pass the grey man mantle onto? And to that, I honestly don't know the answer. I'm looking up and down
I think
here.
the right person. You're going to make an
I think you may
uncomfortable
have
decision
done.
here.
Yeah, I'm difficult now. It's hard.
Well, actually,
That's
no,
hard.
Ridge. I think Ridge is also another great man. Someone who doesn't like to tempt fate. I'm not going to help you here, but I think he doesn't like to tempt fate. He will back out of situations. I think he's a good, strong driver. He's consistent. And I guess we just don't like consistency as a form of entertainment. So, on that basis alone, Ali, it can only be Ridge.
It can only be Ridge. Well, either way, Ridge is a squeaky clean driver. I was chasing his ghosts around on a rivals just the other day. Very, very fast indeed. He's become so much faster than he was when he was my teammate back in TGT. And if any of you can remember that, then what are you doing up here? You should be looking after your old back or your swollen knees. You're so old. Let's get this thing underway. FCT Sam has connected. I'm so happy to see that, because that means that he's going to be able to take part in these races. We knew there were some people missing from this lobby, and FCT Sam, somebody from our qualifying lobby, actually the top qualifier from there, making his way into lobby A. Super happy to see that.
Yeah, and I think it's important that we kind of talk about FCT. We don't really see them a lot. I think, you know, for a large proportion of their time as an organization, as a Forza racing community team, FCT have always been overshadowed by the likes of BAM. TX3 is kind of, you know, apart from a few, but they largely a French-based organization as well. So they kind of get overshadowed a little bit. And also ESC. But since the departure of ESC Chris, who has now gone to Aerox, I don't think that ESC have that kind of substance anymore. They don't have that leading, you know, that leading wolf in their pack. So I think FCT, you know, have come, you know, by right, have come into their own time. And I think this is a perfect platform for them to kind of extend that and show that, you know, and show the people that they are, you know, they're a French team force, to, you know, French force to be reckoned with. Because we just haven't seen that yet.
Here we are in lobby A of the TCC, Melish, and I'm looking up and down for drivers representing, you know, those classic French teams. TX3 not present here. I mean, BAM, we all know that they won't be here. Very sad to see them closing their doors just last year. So FCT really becoming the de facto French community team, and I love to see that. I think that's fantastic. You know, you've got to have you've got to have that sort of very vibrant and upcoming team in any community. Yeah, that's where you want to be. That's where the energy is. Look at SVR right now. That's where the energy is. You know, everyone's coming along and giving so much to that team at the moment. FCT, I'm very excited to have seen them registering 2 full teams here for the TCC, 6 drivers, as well as I think some privateers on top of that. So we're looking at a huge amount of their team coming out and representing in a championship that, yeah, I mean, really puts this team on the map.
Yeah, and I think a proportion of that, you know, those entrants from FCT are going to be looking at establishing themselves, trying to secure a podium win, whether it be as an individual basis or it will be as a team championship. They want to get as many points as they can and put themselves on the map. For some of them, though, I think this is just a massive learning curve, and there's no place better to do that, Ali, because, like we said, we're going to be on board with Lobby A, but there's 99 drivers, and just quick maths, that's what? Lobby B, Lobby C, Lobby D, Lobby E, Lobby F, at the very least. So we've got all these lobbies that we're not going to be seeing, but they're absolutely going to be filled with people that want to race at the highest level, to the fastest possible, you know, to their pace, to their own pace. They're going to be surrounded by people in that same pace as well. So if they've not made it here, and we're only seeing FCT Sam, and you saying they've disclosed 2 full teams, that to me says there are 5 other FCT guys out there, you know, preparing to race into the lobbies, and it's going to do the world of good for them.
You know what, Melish? I mean, I want to bring us back a few steps here, right? Let's bring us back a few steps. A minute ago, I was listening to you struggling to -3 from 17. You sweated over it for a little while. We chatted about that for a bit. The resolution was, I'm not great at mental maths. Then, right, then you took number 99 and you worked out in 16s where you would get to in the alphabet by putting them together until it reached 99, and then which alphabet number you'd be on. And you did that in the blink of an eye.
Well, I'll tell you what it is.
I want to know what
like,
happened in that 5 minutes. What did you eat?
I'll tell you what it is, and it's very simple. It's like,
right.
I'll tell you what it is. It's like I've always been good at just doing multiples of 16, and it's just a number that I can get on with really well. But apart from
that,
everything else about mathematics escapes me. Just down to the simples, 1 + 1 = window, and that sort of thing. And but 16 for me is just a number that I just click with automatically. I think it's down to
16.
AOR. Just sweet 16, I guess.
Sweet 16. Right, well, thank you for that answer, Mellis.
It's true.
It's true. I don't believe a bloody word of it, people. I can't wait to get this
Never.
racing underway. Me and Mellis are going insane out here because we've been on tenterhooks for a while now, as have you. So we're hopeful that the racing will kick off very, very soon indeed. I'm sure that the guys at AOR are sweating over a hot stove of qualifying numbers right now, just making sure that everything's all good, and we'll be kicking off any second. We may still be waiting for one driver, I think, in lobby A here. I'm unsure who that driver is going to be, but we're just holding back and for a short while before this race starts, as we want to get a full grid for you.
Exactly, and let's not forget, guys, it's 18 laps of this track, but you're looking at 50 seconds. We're not looking at incredibly long races here, if I'm honest. So, we could just do back to back to back and just get boom, and it's just action-packed. We're going to be looking at, 36, 46, 54 laps? 54 laps of action you're going to get here tonight. All around 6 corners. And a pit lane that's longer in time than it is to go around the track. So it's just a recipe for action, and I'd rather be no one else tonight on a Saturday night. I don't want to go out there.
I'm so with you. I don't want.
Society's
I'm
too
happy to
overrated.
do.
This is where it is. This is where
This
it
is
is.
society.
I don't want to go out there. This is
What's
society.
out there? Cold.
Fresh air,
Cold
what's
out
that?
there.
It's just-
It's cold.
yeah.
It's dark. It's a bit scary. It's
It's not cold.
It's not cold, actually. It's quite warm at the moment
It is
here
quite
in the
warm.
Netherlands. Oh yeah, and warm in the UK as well. Well, here we are, people. We've got to that stage on the stream. This is the trajectory of my normal conversation with Mesh. I'll call him up on Skype of a morning, and we'll chat for an hour and 15 minutes, and then we'll suddenly be just chatting about the weather for a bit. We'll just be like, yeah, it's quite warm out today. Yeah,
Avengers Endgame's coming out next week.
Oh yeah, Avengers is coming out next week.
Soy popcorn or sweet popcorn? It's those kind of questions that just dictate the
These are
way
the
your life goes.
questions. You're right.
These
You're
are the
right. They
questions.
do. These are the little fine points that direct a person from one choice to the next. Well, I guess out there in the chat, let us know, sweet popcorn or salty popcorn. Not something that's going to affect perhaps the race results today or the racing anyway, but we're interested. I like salty popcorn. I think we've had this conversation before,
Same.
Mesh, and I think you also.
Here.
I knew that you did, because I don't get along with sweet popcorn people. I just don't get along.
It's something in the air about them. It's like
Something in the air
I just
about
know, like, oh, you're a sweet popcorn guy, aren't you? No, I kind of. Sorry, we're not going to get on. But the thing is, here's a TCC top tip for you, Alie. Right? And I only
Go on,
discovered
go
this
on.
while
Let's have it.
watching. What was I watching? Oh, I don't know. Oh, Captain Marvel. That was it. Right. Top TCC top tip. Okay.
Let's go.
When you go to the cinema, buy the little mini Kit Kats in the pack, in
Right.
the pouches, and then mix them amongst your salty popcorn. Now, you've got a time limit because it can get hot in the cinema. But if you can find those Kit Kats with a bit of salt on them, oh my God, it is sweet, sweet heaven. And I'm just recommending that out to everybody.
You are criminally insane, Mesh. You are. so I wanna break this down. I wanna take it, because that went quickly. So what you're saying is that you go to the cinema and you buy. These are the ones you find in like packs of celebrations, right? The little tiny. We're talking like tiny little Kit Kats here, little Malteser type things, little chocolates, right? So you're taking them out of their individually wrapped packets. Where do you do that? Where do you take? Are you outside the cinema, in public, unwrapping them and dunking them in
so
the
I'm very time efficient, right? So I am prompt to the cinema time, and there is 30 minutes of advertisements, and I think, what better way of spending my time than unwrapping all of these and sticking them in the popcorn, and then playing like the Toy Story claw and trying to ruffle through all the popcorn to get to my Kit Kats and eat them. The only issue I have is this is very time sensitive.
Right. Yeah, it sounds it. You know what? This isn't about what it tastes like. This is about making sure that no one sits next to you. That's all it is. You're that guy sitting there in the middle row, like right there in front of the screen, middle of the middle row, perfect seat, and somehow no one's in either of the seats next to you because they're covered in like melted chocolate and open.
Oh, there's no mess. I am clinical.
No mess.
There's no mess left. There's no trace I've ever been there. There's nothing to suggest that there's someone sat in that seat. There's nothing. But I have to tell you, I'm not a chocolate fan, but that is amazing. And no one can disagree with me on that. It is amazing.
There you go, it's a fact. It's a fact. And it's enshrined in truth. The second time tonight. Too much.
Oh.
Too much. I mean, what chance does man have against such reckless hate? we never stood a chance as a society. Don't worry about it. Someone, all this time, Mellish has been putting Kit Kats in his bloody salty popcorn. Oh, all this time, Mellish.
Well, not all this time. It's only a recently founded adventure, and I did it by accident actually, because I was trying to feed my missus one, and it fell in the popcorn. No,
it doesn't
it fell
sound
in
like
the
an
popcorn. I was like doing the airplane noise with the Kit Kat and trying to put it in my mouth, and it dropped. It dropped. You know, I just wasn't accurate with that, and then it dropped. Yeah, that's it. And then it dropped in the popcorn, and I was like, oh no. So I went searching for it, and I put it in my mouth. I was like, oh my god, salty Kit Kat.
Salty
it's genius.
Kit Kat.
So now it's just
sort of genius, sort of genius. That's an amazing little story, and I'm so glad. You know, everyone. If there was one thing you remember from today, I think that's what it should be. Not the bit about the Nürburgring and the overtaking opportunities there. Nothing to do with anything else we've mentioned about the form of these different drivers coming into this championship. Focused on the salty Kit Kats. I'm going to be trying it. I'm heading off to Avengers Endgame sometime in the next year when I can get a ticket, and when I finally get to see that movie. I'll be
let's just reestablish the points, Ali. Salty Kit Kats. That's number one top tips. Number two is the fact that Brands Hatch Indy has more overtaking opportunities than Nordschleife. And again, that's just a factor.
Yeah.
We don't really have a third one.
Well, I feel like the third was some kind of lesson about ice cream. I got really excited about some ice cream midway through this stream. We ended up looking at a point that wasn't necessarily fully frozen yet. The ice cream hadn't been left in the freezer to fully freeze, and we all had runny ice cream because of it. And I still haven't forgiven myself for that, but we'll get there in the end. So maybe something about ice cream. Just in your notes, put down just something about ice cream. 3.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to say, guys, when we run out of things to say that's informative about a championship, our default position is culinary. We just go straight to food. And it's we just go straight to food, and that's just the way we are. We do apologise for the delay that you guys are experiencing. Obviously, you know, we're on the face of this, and it's the first rodeo for the TCC. It's going to have hiccups, and we do apologise for the lengthy delay. But these guys are working hard, and they're trying to get it sorted. I've had apologies on my phone saying, oh, we're really sorry. They're not doing it in spite. It's because something's genuinely gone wrong. But we're going to get away. We're going to get ahead, guys, very, very soon. 3 races. Please stay tuned, and please, I know patience is really thin. I know most of all, but thank you for keeping yours. Thank you.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Thanks so much for coming along on this journey with us. It's been a long one. We're chilling here, just waiting for the season to get kicked off, as all the drivers are as well. We've got a lobby full of some great racers. Williams Mitch, Williams 7, Barry, Tactical. Somebody who I just saw entering the lobby is SCT Slipstream. So that's actually the teammate of JSR Type R, and also the teammate, of course, of RBR Venom, who can't be here tonight due to the Le Mans Esports Series kicking off very shortly. So that's 2 members at least of that very, very fast team out here today and representing SCT Slipstream. Let's actually get that car up on the stream so you guys can get accustomed maybe a little bit with what that livery looks like. Oop. As I just get bumped away from it just at the very second I look at it. Yeah, unfortunately, Slipstream has disconnected from the lobby just the second I tried to look at him. But I guess we can go and hover over Type R because his car looked pretty similar to that, apart from green.
Absolutely, and I think we haven't actually really discussed these cars yet in greater detail, which is I'm going to take fault on that responsibility. Is the fact that Mitch has done a tremendous job of balancing these cars now for people that can cast their minds back. The BMW 125i was kind of the OP car last time around. Not this anymore. It's actually a couple of tenths off. You know, if they were all running the fastest lap times, Ali, the BMW is a couple of tenths off here at Brands Hatch Indy. Can't say the same about the rest of the tracks. The Honda Civic, although, is going to be the one to beat, absolutely. And the Chevy Cruze is going to be another titan amongst those. There's only 5 cars to choose from, but we're looking at such a tight-knitted pack of cars, and they've been so finely tuned. Kudos to Williams Mitch for doing this. So I think it's going to encourage a closer racing, because we've always seen it, Ali, you know, we've seen people get away and the pack stretches out, and that's inevitable regardless of how the tuning setups and how the cars have been built. We're always going to get that because of the pace, the pace differences. But I think more this season, in season 5 at AOR, we're going to see it closer than ever, and I'm really looking forward to that. I can't really say I think the Honda Civic's going to take the win, I really do. But the BMW is just looking to score as many points as it can. So Craviator, he's a big fan of rear-wheel drive. I don't know how he feels about front-wheel drive, but rear-wheel drive is his thing. So he's going in the BMW, and I think for him it's going to be rack as many points as he can up. And he's such a good driver. Really, really is a good driver. From Australia. So again, across continents here, and he's putting himself up against the best. And I think he's going to do a great job here, Ali. Craviator is what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I completely agree. Craviator in the BMW 125, I struggle with that car personally, just because of its very short wheelbase. Tends to flick around on you very easily if you're not careful with it. SCT Unknown joining the game now, so I suppose any driver from SCT will do. If you can't get one of them, get another. JSR Type R below in the Honda Civic, and of course Cami there in the Civic as well. We've had a little bit of talk of how many Civics there are out racing, and there are a few. But I will say, Lobby A really here today dominated by the Audi RS3 LMS, the new Audi.
Yeah. Which is kind of, I like how they integrated it in the game. Don't get me wrong, any new addition with a racing pedigree car, I'm all for it. Hands up, whoop whoop, Mexican wave. The thing is though, nothing is really in its league, is there? There's nothing to compete with, and you're running an older generation against a newer generation. And I know this from people's feedback in the community that this is an absolute god. It really is. It's actually really nice to drive, and people do tend to favor it in multiplayer lobbies. But we haven't actually seen this car out there in a TCC championship. So it's kind of a new experience for us, which is kind of exciting because it's using the same thing, right? Just different drivers, different builds, different calendar. This time we've got a new car on the track, and I want to see how that really handles.
I like that. I agree. It's a great old series. It's touring car, and there's a wide variety of cars out there in the pack. And it is nice. It's nice to see a new one coming along. The Audi RS3, definitely a pacey one out there. A nice addition to what we've got. It's also rewarding that it's different enough to the old S3. That you can kind of run both on track and get the feeling that they're different cars with different characteristics. It's not definitely just an upgraded version of the previous car. The two are they're very different in their way. I think the RS3 being much more grip oriented, while the older S3 just having a bit more acceleration, a bit more on the top end.
Yeah, and I think that if they're going to be racing side by side, there's no better comparison. I mean, yes, people are going to be running their tunes, but that's down to their individual driving style. They're not running base tunes. They're running track-specific tunes. So, they're going to be pretty close. And I really want to see what car has what edge over each other, if that makes sense. I have to say, though, Ali, it's a tick, 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 tick in the lobby. So it looks like, finally, guys, we can blow that horn because we're about to get underway for race number 1. Let's do it. I am ready.
Let's get this going. Let's finally get the old AOR TCC underway here at Brands Hatch Indy. The drivers getting ready to line up on that grid. It's been a long old wait since qualifying. Everyone's going to be a little bit restless. Looking forward to getting out there on track. And, well, I imagine a few of the guys out there in the chat, possibly even one or two of us in the commentary booth, are also just looking forward to seeing some cars out racing at this point. So let's, hopefully without much further ado, get the old thing going. It's a 6-corner track, as we've mentioned. Pilgrim's Drop. It's not Pilgrim's Drop, is it? It's Paddock Hill is the first corner. Difficult one to get caught on the... Yeah,
Is Pilgrim's Drop even a bend?
It's further around the track, mate. It's over near the it's on the full track, just after the bridge down the hill. I think that's what that's called.
Way ahead of yourself. No, you are right.
Yeah, okay, half a track ahead of myself. Paddock Hill. Anyway, it's a difficult corner to get caught on the outside of. That gravel trap way out there, you can get caught out very, very easily indeed. So definitely, I think you'll see cars working very hard to not be on the outside line there through the first turn. I do think we have a warm-up lap here at the TCC.
We do.
As we roll into it, do keep that in mind, and keep in mind that we'll be we won't be going it straight into racing in anger.
Absolutely. Remember, like you just said, Ali, it's one warm-up lap, so that kind of, it emits that risk, eradicates, as you say, that risk of cold tire syndrome first corner. You don't want to have that. This is the perfect opportunity to be sensible, but to get those tires heated up, get on that grid as fast as you can so that they don't cool down again. So you're going to get the perfect start here in the first race of the TCC AOR Championship. I'm looking forward to this, Ali. Let's get on it. Let's do it.
Let's get on this. Let's go. All right, I'm hopping back on board right now with that driver from the FCT team. We talked all about him, FCT Sam. So good to see him out here repping FCT at the very, very top of Forza Motorsport. And he's running in 6th position, which has often been the position we've chosen to be on board with at the start of these races. The drivers coming round, they've warmed their tires up, and now they'll be lining up on that grid, getting into their grid order and getting ready for the start of this race. It's always a tense moment, Melish, and everyone, I think, all the more tense after such a long wait.
Yeah, the William boys out in 1 and 2. 7 and Mitch will take the top 2 positions on the grid, followed by the Aerox boys, Bokit and Vane. Vane popping Bokit to that 3rd place. And what can Tactical do in 5th place here, as his teammate Commando is absent from this first race of the season? That he's going to be looking to claim as many points. FCT as well. Like you said, Ali, we're going to go on board with FCT. Can't wait to see what he can do. Typar just behind Ridge as well. So Aerox, 3 drivers in the top 7. Cammy in 9th. Sean the Privateer in 10th. And then the guys we're looking at the back there, looking confident. Slipstream, Barry, Crevier, what can they do in the first race? Let's go.
The revs are high. 16 touring cars getting ready to go, and they drop that clutch. FCT Sam off to a bad start. That's a little bit of bog down there as he runs up the line towards turn 1. Ridges up the inside, gets into that 6th position. Demoting FCT Sam by 1 place, who loses the rear at the first turn, and everyone bunching together as they run down into the hairpin for the first time. Bokit getting deep into another driver and losing out on position. So Aerox, Bokit there, a big loser in the first few corners. Williams 7 though, running still in 3rd, ahead of him Aerox, Vane, and leading this race still is Williams Mitch. 7 and Vane though, Melish, they're close together in that battle for 2nd.
Yeah, absolutely. What a clean first corner from all 16 drivers. You saw there was Bokit running Tactical way wide into Druids. He got caught up, went 3 wide. He's dropping it down the pack here at the moment. He's down to 6th, so he's lost a couple of spots. Sean up to 8th. The guy, the Privateer, we're all looking eagerly on towards, is in 8th place, and that battle for 2nd stays alive.
You're absolutely right. So fighting up and down this pack, looking backwards here towards Type R, who's had a little bit of a ropey qualifying, not his perfect run here by any means, and ropey qualifying tends to lead to a little bit of a rough first lap as all the cars use the dirt there on the outside of turn 3, kicking up a whole heap of dust as they all push through and finish their second lap in anger already. I was saying earlier, it's like a go-kart track. A 45-second lap here is well, it's a very fast one. 46 is not impossible at all, as Mitch made very clear in qualifying. So it's quick laps, it's a fast race, and we'll be watching this one unfold for the next 19 laps. Up in the lead of the race, Williams Mitch holds strong, and we can cut back to that third place runner, Williams 7, who's still trailing AOR Vane and fighting for that podium position.
Yeah, 7 down the spot off the grid. Mitch on fine form out in front. And Vane, like you said, using all the track on the grass, and he just seems to get that back end of the Audi loose as we go into the final corner here. And that's where 7 has been the most strongest. I talked to 7 before the race, and he is not comfortable in touring cars here. He's really outside his comfort zone. So to be in third place here and extended away from AOR's brother Ridge. Bokit, where is Bokit? He's down in 6th at the moment. Started 4th on the grid, all the way down in 6th. Oh, let's go back on
in
Bokit.
the walls with FCT Sam. We're hopped on board with him right now, and up the inside of Sam, who's trying to stay in there around the outside of the hairpin. No way through there. That's not a line. Bokit's had a great race so far. Very, very punchy, pushing his way up through this field. And I don't think it was a bad qualifying so much for Bokit, but a ropey, perhaps, well, not an awful qualifying. Mid-pack, wasn't he? Just to the right of FCT Sam, who we were on board with. Fighting his way up through this field ultimately. So yeah, good to see Bokit out there doing well, but do keep in mind this is a driver with great form. We'd expect to be up there winning this race potentially rather than fighting for 5th.
Absolutely, just further back here, just inside, sorry, the top 10. We've got JSR Type R, one of the guys we're looking forward to complete this championship in high style as he looks to take on the back. He's on the back of Sean 1528, the privateer, the unknown, coming into this championship, and he's holding them off. Fair play to Sean in the Audi. He's looking stronger, and Tactical's not getting away, so the pace here is pretty much mirror image for everybody right now, and no one has got any clear, advantages in pace, Ali. No one.
No, you're absolutely right. It's very, very close. We're on board here with Type R, who we know to be incredibly quick, pushing like crazy in that little Honda, and only managing to hold himself here in 9th position. So it's very, very tricky to get pace out of this car. Clearly, he's holding my breath slightly as Type R got a little bit deep on the brakes there through turn 1. In fact, Type R looking a little bit uncertain on the brakes in general. Does not quite managing to get that nose of his Honda Civic onto the apex here on lap 7 of 19. Just a little bit wide from time to time from the JSR driver.
Yeah, Type R is going to have to rack up as many points as he can, but his teammate RBR Venom is absent because of the Le Mans Esports Series, but also because SCT Slipstream trailing at the back in 16th place. He's not looking challenging at the moment. Barcode looks like he's going to try and get one up on Matt Gaming, 661 in 14th place. And Cammy eating the sand trap on the way out of Clark Curve, sees him drop back a couple of positions, allows Craviator and Barry to secure a one-up on that driver. And Craviator just the only BMW here in A-Lobby, looking to secure as many points as he can for the Joda team.
Yeah, not too bad at all. We're back here on board right now with TUS Barcode. We were chatting earlier about how this driver has been moving up through the field in Forza Motorsport 7 and doing a fantastic job of that. And here he is showing it to us and really proving it once again by making it to A-Lobby in the AOR TCC and threatening the likes of Matt Gaming 6661 for 14th position. It's not an easy thing to do. We can say, oh, you're looking at the back of the pack. Well, this is the back of pack of Lobby A. This is the top 16 drivers out of a field of 100 who are out here racing today and trying to find their way through this field in the AOR TCC.
Yeah, lap 9 and 19, halfway through this race, guys. And there's a big battle up front. 7 getting up the inside of Vane into turn 3. He's going to take that position. Looked a bit scrappy there, but 7 will capitalize and hold that position. And it remains a Williams 1-2 like he did on the grid with Aerox, Vane, and now Rich taking a 34 spot. But Vane's not done. He's looking back at the inside of Clark Curve. Is he going to get him into turn one? What's that Civic got? No, he can't do it. The Civic's just got the top end there. He'll have to slip back in there, and Vane will have to do all that work all over again. It's all on Seven to hold him back. Come on, Seven.
Vane doing such a great job so far in this race. He's been holding that second place down after very early on, taking it from Seven. Managing to break that Williams blockade up from the start of this race, but demoted back to that last step of the podium now, and this is a drive from somebody who looks very hungry indeed. Yeah, that's how it looks to me at least, Melish, because Vane sniffing all over Bokit's rear quarter panels on every braking zone. Every corner he's threatening him. And Seven, I think at some point will start thinking to himself, wow, being in front of Vane might be more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying to run so much momentum in the Audi out of Clark Curve, trying to gain that inside position. It's not working. Looks like the Audis are a lot more comfortable on the corners than the Honda Civic. Honda Civic has the acceleration through these short sprint sectors. Is that enough to keep Vane behind? Seven keeps leaving the door open slightly, but also Vane running a super aggressive format here, just keeps scraping the bumper of Seven, trying to run him wide slightly, trying to make the opportunity happen for himself. Currently still in third, Ridge in fourth, and I think that's Bokit. Aerox, third, fourth, and fifth at the moment in this race. Mitch, oh, that's Seven gone wide, Alie.
That's not just Ridge in fourth either. That's Ridge right behind this battle, and now through up into third as Seven gets out on the gravel with a little bit of a helping hand from Aerox Vane and falls back down this order. Let's find where Seven got to, all the way to fourth for Seven. You can see him back here on the road, losing out maybe 10 car lengths there, but Ridge fought his way up through this field. We were calling him out before the race, maybe a grey man here, maybe somebody who we weren't going to notice. Certainly we're going to notice him right now, because Ridge has worked his way up through this field, all the way to the podium, all the way past Williams 7, and looks like he may even have a shot at getting past Aerox Vane and starting to threaten for that silver medal in this first race.
Yeah, I don't know what the marshals are going to say about that move. It looked a little bit dirty from where I was sitting there. Vane giving him a helping hand into the sand traps. That allows his teammate Ridge to get through. And now Seven is under the firing line of Bokit. Is trying to extend away from FCT Sam at the moment. He sits in fourth, but Alie, the problem I'm seeing right now is the fact that all the Aerox boys are in the top 5. The fact of the matter is that Williams have another driver, Roadrunner, and he's not even in this lobby, so Williams really needs to get as many points as they can to keep their team championship wide open and competitive with the Aerox boys.
Oh, that's absolutely right. I mean, Williams here starting to look like they're really under threat. Aerox in second and third, Williams first and fourth, and as you say, it will be that third Aerox driver who is out here in this field somewhere. Where is the last Aerox driver? It's Bokit in fifth, who scored so many more points than Roadrunner, not even in Lobby A. So Bokit doing a great job to be the difference maker here for Aerox, even though he is perhaps their least well-running driver. I say their least well-running. I've just hopped back on board with Bokit. He's just tucked in behind Seven. We can hop on board with him here. You can see just up the road, Williams 7 there. So Bokit looking to make it Aerox 2, 3, 4 in this race.
And what a great position that would be for the Aerox boys. What a start in race 1 here. Remember, guys, this is race 1 of 3, and that's going to be a huge accumulation of points for the Aerox boys. If they can make this happen, they're already going to be on points here because Roadrunner didn't make Lobby A. So 3 drivers against 2. Mathematically, you're going to be gaining more points here. Looks like FCT Sam is kind of dropping off this trail here in 6th place, leaving Bokit to do the business against 7. The Aerox boys are sitting comfortably in 2nd and 3rd, and then look for a moment there that Tacq and Sean are both going at it. We expected more from Tacq, Alie. More from him. This is his forte. This is his ground, his domination. And Sean is holding him up here beautifully. Not even holding him up, he's going toe-to-toe with the man. And it's great to see a privateer do that. We haven't seen that for such a long time.
Well, let's be fair. I mean, JSR Taipar's qualifying by Taipa standards was rough as old boots. We would expect him to be in the top 4, to be right up there at the pointy end. Instead, he qualifies the lower half of the mid-pack, 9th, 10th out there on this field. And you know, not in a position really where we can expect him to challenge in the early part of this race. He's then struggled to make up positions throughout the race itself and remains sort of ailing there in 9th position. So a difficult start to the championship for Type R, somebody who perhaps is getting back into his stride a little bit. Is it fair to say that? Getting back into his stride on Forza Motorsport 7.
Absolutely, and this is a, you know, you've got to put practice in. You can't just leave it till the day of the race to kind of put your effort in. This is a commitment like no other, and I just feel that Type R, I don't know, I don't want to say he's lost it. Maybe they're just, I feel that there's more competition these days as it was back in the original TCC seasons that we did years ago, Ali. And I feel that, you know, it's time to meet your match, and this is what makes great racing.
All right, well, I'm reaching in the catching cabinet and I'm pulling out the silver foil because I need to get myself a tin foil hat on. I wonder whether or not the Aerox team would be better if Aerox Ridge were to drop back at this point and start forcing 7 into the jaws of Bokit. There may be points in them there. There's no extra points for the team if Ridge continues to attack his teammate Vane, but they could be extra team points if Bokit can find his way past the Williams driver of 7, who's been just up the road from him for a few laps. Just 2 laps remaining, 2 more circulations of this track. Williams Mitch already starting his penultimate lap. And so not long for Ridge to do something like that, but I do wonder whether Bokit might be slightly wishing there was a little bit more teamwork happening up ahead of him.
Well, it looks to me, Ali, that Mitch, living up to his name and his reputation here, the only guy to get a 46 in the qualification round, and he's the only guy to get a 46 in race number 1. He is way out in front, in fine form, and he's got a lap and a half or a lap and a quarter to complete to take the win in the race number 1. But it's not all going to be victories and cheers for that man, because his teammate is in a questionable incident with the Aerox boys, and the absence of his other teammate is going to put even more pressure on this man, as he will be definitely, as the way things stand, he will be starting out in front in race number 2, and he needs to capitalize and get those points as well.
Well, we talked about Williams Mitch's poise coming into this race. He looks like this is his championship. This is his time in the AOR TCC, and he's beginning it in the best way possible, gapping the pack. You can see it on the mini-map in the bottom left there. Big old gap between Mitch and second place runners and third place runners. He's going to come across this line and take the first win of the night. Lap 19 of 19. Mitch puts one in the books. But maybe, just maybe, this first race is the story of Aerox Motorsport, who comes second and third, taking those next 2 positions on the podium. I love it. This is cooking into a real championship and a massive, massive challenge for anybody who wants to take home gold.
Absolutely great job there from the Aerox boys. Again, we're going to have to see what the marshals have to say about that incident involving Vane and 7. It looked malicious, and it definitely scuppered 7's chance. It's hit him into the sand trap out of Clark Curve. Lost a bunch of positions there, and what they're going to say about that in the review afterwards. But as far as it is right now, temporarily, it's all green for the Aerox boys, with Bokit. Really, I have to say, Bokit was the one. It wasn't disappointing, but he lost the most positions. Ridge gained the most positions. Vane finished up. Bokit finished slightly down. And they're still all within the top 5. Fantastic.
I was chatting about this mid-race. I didn't mention it, but actually I remembered it afterwards. Bokit, turn 2 of the first lap, was on the inside, outbraked himself and dug into another car, lost out on a bunch of positions at that point. So actually Bokit really losing out there very early in the race and doing quite a good recovery job ultimately. I think he will have wished that he could have got past 7 there, that he could have snuck his way by toward the end of that race, but still a strong performance from the young man who we've seen so much from this year already in the Le Mans Esports Series. So yeah, very interesting to see him making a little slip there. It was his teammates though, Vane and I've forgotten his second teammate. Who's the other guy in Aerox? Ridge.
Bokit.
There you go. Why do I forget Ridge? I don't know why I do. Vane and Ridge, who I think really did a great job of teaming together, pushing forward. Vane, as you say, getting the elbows into 7. I don't know how the marshals will look at that one, but for now at least, it looks like silver and bronze in that first race for the Aerox team.
Well, you can be absolutely sure, Ali, that tempers will be flaring in race number 2, because I don't know if you caught it on camera, but in the early stage of this race, it looked like Bokit sent Tactical well wide into Druid's Bend. Super aggressive tactics kind of forced the error from Tactical. Tactical had to lose a bunch of places. He went 3 wide into turn 3. That's not where you want to be. The track's super narrow, and he lost time, and he lost spaces. So I think, I don't know, I think there's tempers flaring now. I think Tactical's going to be given no lenience. He's going to be giving no leeway to any of the drivers. Great drive from Sean and Taipar there. We expect more from Taipar. He's not the kind of guy to be sitting in 9th. We expect him to see him a little bit further up that pack. Great job for Merckx rounding out the top 10. Barry and Craviator, big surprise there. We knew the BMW was going to be a struggle here. Craviator getting those low 47s, the 0.1s, super cool. Only a couple of tenths off Mitch. So he's doing super well in that BMW. We've got Cammy, who got caught in a sand trap. But, you know, not a disappointment, but just huge unluckiness. Well, just massive unlucky for Cammy, Matt Gaming, Barcode, and Slipstream. No real changes at the back of the pack there, but we hope to see Cammy kind of make his way through. He was challenging on Craviator there to the very line in the Honda Civic, so more to see from him for sure.
So race number 2, the qualifying order will be the finishing order of race number 1. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, absolutely.
So that means that in this next race, Aerox Vane, somebody we know is a punchy driver, someone we know is going to not take any prisoners out there, is sitting next door to Williams Mitch, and actually I believe on the inside of him, maybe on the inside of him to turn 1. That could be huge, because I think Mitch has this great pace here. He's very, very fast. But if you can break his momentum early, if you can throw the move on him early in the race, I wonder whether he's got the overtaking nous, got the elbows to make his way forward in this pack.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, Mitch is in the perfect position. Vane has now got 3 reigns to challenge on Mitch. Ridge feels to me like he's just a filler. He's a good person to have on that 3rd step of the podium. If Vane wants to go ahead and challenge Mitch, I think Ridge is the kind of the bridge to the tower gate. It's up to him to let people through. I think he's going to be that blockade that Vane needs to get those opportunities. 7 is looking for redemption. So he doesn't care if you've got a tower. He's going to fly in on a dragon. Doesn't care if you're going to let the doors open. He's going to open those doors for you. I have to say, though, Sam's the most consistent driver here. Started 6th, finishes 6th. I'd like to see a little bit more from FCT. Just a little bit more. No complaints. 6th is a great place to be. But I just don't think Tactical's going to let him have it that easily. So let's see what happens there.
I do wonder. Yeah, I mean, it was as you say. I think that there's a lot of potential in that Aerox pairing of Ridge and Vane to command this race. If they can get ahead, if they can hold that position, I think they look like a great unit together driving that can really influence the things around them. I agree that 7 is after something beginning with R, but I don't think it's redemption. I think it might be more of the revenge. Kind of a style. I wonder if he might take a little bit of joy from seeing Vane come to grief here in race number 2. We'll have to wait and see how that unfolds. For now, the guys at AOR just tallying up the results for us and getting ready for race number 2. It's been a great night from them so far. A little bit delays earlier on, but we've got race number 1 in the books now, and hopefully we can charge forward into race number 2 and 3.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about who we thought were the grey men in this championship, and in A Lobby in particular. And for me, I think both of our predictions were completely wrong. And I would actually like to say that I think AMS Merckx was the grey man in that lobby. We didn't see much of him. He wasn't. He was in the action, absolutely, but he was keeping his nose clean. He was consistent. We didn't see many grid positions changes for Merckx. I would like to see that. He does live for front-wheel drive. He practices with Mitch. He's got the ultimate Jedi by his side. He's got all the learning tools around him. And I think that
Yeah.
only spells a recipe for great success for Merckx. It certainly got him here in A lobby. I just want to see him extend it just a few more positions up the pack. That's all. I think he can do it.
I agree. I agree. I think he can. And you know, you're right. You know, a little bit of a grey man there from Merckx. Also, Slipstream, after making his way up into A lobby, SCT Slipstream, not necessarily impressing with the racing that he was putting down here. So not, you know, maybe there's more for him in race number 2. I think that was a low finish there for Slipstreams, and so you know the only way is up really. But yeah, I mean, for somebody who, well, I'm being unfair actually. I'm being completely unfair because Slipstream's a complete new name to me, and I don't know how long Slipstream's been playing Forza at this level, and you know it could well be that this, you know, he's coming in as a relative newcomer. So you know, credit to him for making Lobby A. I don't think actually it's worth. Yeah, I take that back. I take that back. He's listening to me talk myself out of it, Mellis. It's just feet up,
it's just like one-sided conversation. It's like you just split yourself in half, and you just like one's your id and one's your super ego, whatever it is. You just having just a huge internal conflict. I love it. I don't have to say anything.
Ridiculous,
Guys,
ridiculous.
race number 2 is upon us. Thank you very much for tuning in so far. Keep tuned in. We know it's been a long, groveling process for you guys at home watching the stream, but please do. We've got a long calendar, eight weeks of racing every Saturday here at AOR, so please do subscribe to the channel, because it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better. And I have to say, we do have the Americas region going on right now in Le Mans, so we are missing a few drivers that we really should be seeing right here. So don't be disheartened or alarmed if some of these names next week kind of drop out of this pack, because we got Venom to fit in here, and Venom is super quick, super quick.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Okay, so race number 2 in the starting order is going to be it looks like Mitch, followed by Vane, Ridge 7, and then Bokit, FCT Sam once again sitting in 6th position, Tactical HD in 7th. So a good run from Tactical, to be fair, in the Chevy Cruze, a car that really isn't suited to this track at all. Type R in the Civic back in 9th, and Slipstream with it all to do from 16th position. We'll have another warm-up lap. This isn't going to be the race start, but we are going to see some cars on track once again, and couldn't be more excited, couldn't be more ready for this.
Yeah, I love it how we move so swiftly, man. Bit of a staggered start. Race 1, bam! Race 1, 2, race 2. Oh, is it off the start? Is that a warm-up lap? Is a warm-up?
I think it must be a warm-up lap, surely.
I got excited then.
Surely a warm-up
They
lap.
just kind of like horsed out the gate then. They just didn't care. Everyone was billowing smoke, and it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy.
I can see a few issues with the overlays here. That's half a shake of the old lamb's tail to get this thing sorted out. We've got about 1,000 new systems working today, so we'll get there. We will get there.
Who are going on board with Alie? That is the question. Number 6.
Number 6, that's FCC Sam again, I believe. So give that. We can mix things up a little bit, I think, with perhaps Bokit in 5th position. How about that?
Absolutely. Bokit's a prime place to be. I've got to say, the Aerox team has come on in leaps and bounds in the kind of pedigree of drivers they have. You know, I remember Bokit when, you know, he was adamant that he was a privateer for life in the Forza community. And oh boy, that changed very, very quickly.
How things change, I know. How things change.
But Ridge has always been consistent, very fast driver, Forza 6. I wouldn't say they were his prime days. He was super fast in Forza 6, quite fast here in Forza 7. Vane as well, hot lap specialist, but Bokit, kind of the racing man of the Aerox team here, I feel. Really is. Likes to get in and dirty, down and dirty. He puts his rubber gloves on, his marigolds, and goes to work.
Goes to town, cleans your drains for you as well while you're at it. Bokit starting in 5th position. You can make him out there just behind Aerox Vane's Tacq. Starting on pole position, of course, is Williams Mitch, and occupying the inside of the track, so that could be massive on the run into turn 1. If we hop back on board here with Bokit, you want to be looking upwards, up the track there towards Aerox Vane, Aerox Ridge with a very aggressive starting angle there, pointing himself straight at that gap between 1st and 2nd, and looking and waiting for the clutches to drop here in race number 2.
Absolutely, what a great start there from Ridge, perfectly poised, but look at Tactical coming through in the Chevy Cruze, absolutely storming, overtakes 7 and Bokit before the first corner. As they go towards Druids, it's 3 wide, Mitch trying to fend up on the inside, Vane forcing his way through in the Audi, and Ridge trying to sense opportunity as well, as they force Mitch wide 7, getting loose again, Bokit tapping his rear end, FCT Sam up the inside into turn 3, and they all make it through cleanly once again, Ali.
Well, Vane and Mitch are still at it, through side by side through the first 2 corners. Ridge making a bit of trouble for his teammate here as they run through the final corner. He's looking for that second position spot. Every time, though, he ducks offline. Tactical wants to come through. I was chatting about how Tactical was in Strugglesville here, how he couldn't get that cruise to work around this track. He's making me look silly, and I absolutely love it. Go for it, Tactical, who gets a little bit squirrely there into turn 1, leaning on Ridge. Leaning so hard on him, but just about allowing him to go. This is close racing here at the TCC. Vane gave it a shot for the lead, but Mitch stays in first.
Ali, I love how we can see the race, but I think the viewers like to see the race too, and unfortunately it's still on the B-roll. They missed the entire start of that, but I hope they were enticed by our gripping narration there. We're back on track. Hopefully you guys can see it. Sean looking at the inside here. Clark Curve, he's looking to get round Bokit. He's doing a job on Bokit here. Up the inside, can he keep it? It's Audi on Audi, mono. Can he keep it to the first corner? Looks like Bokit's just got a bit of an edge on the top pace. FCT Sam looking strong there. Sean trying to dig his paws in up the inside. Gets loose. Type R up the inside of Druids. And that's going to see Merckx look up the inside as well. Sean getting swallowed. This is the back of the top 10. Barry looking eager as well. Craviator there as well. It's all bunched up at the back, a little bit spread out of the front. That's what we like to see, Ali.
Close racing at the back of the pack. We're just on board now with Type R. He's running in 9th position, just to run you all through the field here. First place right now is Williams Mitch. Second, Aerox Vane, with Aerox Ridge in 3rd place. Tactical in 4th. 5th is Williams 7. 6th, Sam. And we've got Bokit in 7th. With Type R just behind him. We're running on board with Type R right now. You can see Bokit up the road there. And behind Type R, we've got Merckx, Sean, Barry, Craviator, Barcode, Cami, Matt Gaming, and SCT Slipstream. 16th place once again.
Sean in the gravel trap of Paddock Hill. He gets swallowed back. He's down to 13th. He was charging on the top 10 there. He's all the way down side by side with Cami. Craviator makes his way through. Craviator gets tapped by Sean. Craviator is way off into turn 3. Sean holds off, tries to give him some kind of consolation there. That is out of contention for Craviator. Lap 5 and 19. He's got a long way to come back. And that will see Matt Gaming and FCT Slipstream move 1 place up.
Unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable. The front of this pack, Mitch holds on to it, but it's really actually the battle for 6th place that we want to be on board with. We'll hop on board with 9th here, and that's going to be Merckx, the driver who we were talking about being a bit of a grey man. He's looking up ahead to what could be the biggest opportunity in his TCC career so far, and that's to pass a whole gaggle of cars. Bokit getting stuck into it with FCT Sam, going wide there from Tactical. No, Tactical. I can't believe it, because such a sweet start to the race for the Chevy Cruze rep, and just losing out now all the way back down to 9th after such a promising start.
Unbelievable. He gets himself on those train tracks and then finds a hiccup. It's unbelievable how much unlucky. I think Commando, he's running Commando's unluckiness right now. He's looking strong though on the outside, going into Paddock Hill, trying to get the move on Barry. Barry's going to take the inside line. If he goes over the curb, he's going to get a slide out. He's going to get a slide out. Chevy Cruze right around the outside. He's going to get the momentum. I think he's going to swipe the nose off Barry there and take that inside line. He's going to close it right off. Gets loose. Barry makes contact with him. Barcode right away around the outside. Type R looking really strong back in the Honda Civic. He was way off the track, as you called it. He went into the sand trap at Paddock Hill as well, and he's looking strong there. Huge battle there, just outside the top 10.
Well, we're on board here with SCT Slipstream, who's been making steady progress this race, picking up on other people's errors, and that's 2 cars off the track. Another 2 positions for Slipstream, who's really just been driving carefully, biding his time here in race number 2, all the way up now to 12th position, and looking forward to it, Matt 661. Those 2 who slipped off the track, I believe, was Sean and Craviator, I want to say, Very, very tricky though to actually work out who's falling off as Matt goes wide in turn number 1. It's all action here at the TCC, Mellish.
Absolutely, it was a bit of a scupper between Sean and Craviator. Sean just kind of went into the back, misjudged his braking zone, and went into the back of Craviator, sent Craviator off into turn 3, and then Sean waited up for him. Very amicable, very nice, great sportsmanship, and it's just a consolation to Craviator. He knew he didn't mean to do it, but at the rate in which these guys are dropping like flies off the track, they'll be straight back up here in no time. Lap 9 and 19, 10 to go.
Here we are on board then with the race leader, Williams Mitch. He's done a great job so far, running at the lead of every lap. He had a good old scrap with AOR Spain at the beginning of race number 2, but managed to hold the driver behind him. Midway through lap 1 was when that battle was resolved, and we haven't managed to pick up the gloves yet between the two of them. Mitch just running away. He's got such great pace in these cars, and it's fantastic to see. The pack a little bit spread behind Mitch, with second place Vane and Ridge, and then 7 running races of their own. But Bokit, FCT Sam, and AMS Mercs are in a pretty close run battle that we can hop on board with right now, on board with Mercs, who's looking forward up the road towards Sam and Bokit, scrapping away for that 5th position.
Absolutely, Merckx, one of the drivers who's been able to capitalize on all the mistakes, all the inconsistencies from all those drivers, has found himself in 7th from a good, solid ride in the Audi. And I have to say, this is credit to him. He's going to deserve these points. It's not all over yet. FCT Sam and Bokit go at it. It's going to reel them both in for Merckx. What can he do? He's got 9 laps to do it. I feel he's got a good challenge on Bokit if the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah, you're too right, he does. Sam looking forward up the field here, and doing his best to stay in the contention there. Bokit won't make mistakes so often on his own, but if you get him into a pressure-filled situation, if you can push Bokit all the way up, for example, to the rear of Williams 7, that's when Sam could really start making some positions up here. Lap 11 of 19 of race number 2 of this evening, and wow. What a lot of action there is in this TCC. If these first 2 races are anything to go by, Mesh, we're both going to lose a whole lot of weight.
I'm going to lose my voice as well at this rate. No lie. I love it though. I love it. It's good for a good cause. I'm always charitable like that.
That's it.
That's it. Lap 11 here of lap 19, and we've got JSR Type R trying to find a way, weave his way through on Barry. Barry holding a solid defensive line here. As slips through up ahead in 10th place. It's holding off Matt Gaming. It's Honda Civic, Audi, Honda Civic in the 10th to 13th place battle here. And it's all for these lower end points, but every point counts when you add it up to a championship.
Too right, they'll all count at the end. Looking to see who's come where. It's all about those little points, and Barry just losing out in turn 1 there. Type R's going to put it on him in turn number 2, all the way around the outside. Goes a long way in the Civic and makes it look very easy. I love how clean, clinical that move was from the JSR driver. And now looking forward up the road toward Matt Gaming 6661 with that big old nitrous oxide systems livery, the orange and blue, that's so emotive in motorsports.
I thought it was Iron Brew at the beginning, but it actually says Noz on the side. So massive respect to Matt Gaming. He gets a bit sideways there, sideways action in the Audi into that last corner, and this is going to allow Type R to really min. I think Type R's got a good chance here to catch on to Matt Gaming and Slipstream. He can see himself in a top 10 position, which would be great consistencies here for Type R. Matt Gaming giving him the room. No, give him the room. Don't do that. Give him the short way round. Squeeze him. Don't let him through.
Doing a decent job of holding him back, though, ultimately. Matt Gaming always a gentleman out on track, isn't he? Giving a little bit of room there for Type R, giving him somewhere to race. Type R giving Matt a few bumps in the rear bumper as a little bit of recompense there for the kindness. No good deed goes unpunished, Matt. And here we go in the run down towards the beginning of lap number 14 for these 2 drivers. It's going to be Type R up the inside of Paddock Hill, making that look easy, I think, and powering on the way out. Wow, Matt with a great run down the hill. Could still be in this.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think he's going to have the ability to be able to... Oh, he does. No, my mistake there.
I can't believe it.
Great
Can't
execution
believe it.
from Matt there, right the way around the outside. Who would have thought that? Shallow into turn 3, though, and Tacq is going to make that cutback stick. He's going to make it work in the turn 4 inside. He's got the racing line, and he's going to make that stick. And now it's all eyes on Slipstream up ahead in the Honda Civic.
Tell you what, I mean, Tacq would have been rubbing his eyes after that, looking at Matt Gaming hanging it out there round the outside of turn 2 here at Brands Hatch. Not an easy place to defend at all, and a beautiful job there from Matt 661. That's the kind of racing we love to see here on the TCC. I will say that Barry as well is joining this party, also looking down towards Matt 661. The drivers at the front of the pack this race a little bit spread out, so we're going to focus on this battle just beyond the top 10. 4/11th between Tacq, Matt 661 and Barry, who's just joined this party.
Absolutely. Mitch, the front-wheel drive age of the Forza community, out there in front. Vane in second, Ridge third, 7 fourth, Bokit fifth, Aerox and Williams dominating the top 5 positions. FCT Sam with a consistent 6th. It's been 6-6-6 for that man, the Frenchman. AMS Merckx in 7th, Tactical in 8th. GTR Cami makes his way up to 9th, and SCT Slipstream will round out the top 10. How long will that stay for, though? 3 laps to go, Tacq chasing.
Well, thanks very much for joining us here late on this Saturday night. We're here, of course, for the Apex Online Racing Touring Car Championship. Alie Tacq and Aaron Martin-Pilkington bringing you all of the racing action. It's been such a great event so far. We're just 2 races in, but both of us are drenched in sweat, covered in the reward that we get from all this exciting racing. It's been incredible so far, and I think it's going to be such a good championship. Do get involved. You can head on over to apexonlineracing.com and sign up. Get yourself into this championship. There's still plenty of time. This is just round 1, and if you're worried about championship points, then don't worry about that either, because you've got a drop round to deal with. So 1 round's going to be scrubbed from every driver at the end of this anyway, so you can get away with it. Come out and get racing with us, and get signed up, and we'll see you at round number 2.
And as we take our way for the last couple of laps, a battle is about to explode. Aerox Ridge in 3rd place is coming under huge amounts of pressure here from Williams 7. 7 just managing to find his feet here, really getting comfortable in that Honda Civic. He looks a bit cold. It's a bit cold in the first race. He's on fine form here. He's getting to the draft of Ridge. Looks like Ridge has got better handling in that Audi, but the Honda Civic has got the acceleration, it's got that torque with the high end of the gears on the straights. Who is going to emerge victor and take that 3rd step on the podium?
Williams 7 just with the last chance saloon kind of a attempt here to get onto that podium, sniffing all over the rear of Aerox Ridge. I got to say, Ridge will be tightening up his lines. I mean, he's only got to hold 7 back for 6 corners, but I think 7 will do anything within his means to get past. He'll feel a little bit raw towards the whole Aerox team after what happened in race number 1 with Ridge's teammate Vane ushering him out onto the gravel on the outside of the final turn, and beginning the final lap here in 7, running out of opportunities to get that 3rd place.
Yeah, that gap seems to be re-emerging there. 7 just not being able to kind of just tag his way along behind Ridge. I have to say that if there's any opportunity with this Honda Civic, it's going to have to be the last corner. He's going to have to get such a massive run to the line, and he's going to have to bank on Ridge getting loose. We've seen the Audis do that from time to time out of turn 4, get loose on the curb as they try to take too much speed through there. Is it going to happen? Ridge goes wide, and 7 tries to dive. It's not going to happen, and I think that's over before it even started. So Mitch takes the win. Vane in 2nd, Ridge in 3rd, and 7 will have to settle for 4th.
Strong race there from 7. I love the potential that we see there for the reverse grid race that will be coming up next. Of course, there we switch around the order and we say, rather than qualifying them from 1st to last, we're going to switch you guys all around, put the 1st place driver at the back of this pack, and see how you guys do on racecraft instead of on hot lapping. It's an art of its own. It's an art of its own. It's a different type of racing, and Williams 7 showing that he's able to mix it there, able to throw his car around and fight close by people, if not get past them. So bodes well, I think, for that driver. Well, a decent race too, Melish, there. It was maybe a little bit too easy on Mitch, do you think? You know, pulling away there from Vane relatively early on in that race. Were you hoping to see more of a challenge for the you know, what's surely turning into the favourite for this championship?
I mean, absolutely not. I have to disagree there. I think he was under immense pressure right at the start. He was actually out of position going into Druids, I think, for the first couple of laps. He fought his way and to secure that first place, and as soon as he got that racing line, he was away. And I feel that, you know, we saw that battle with the Audi and the Honda Civic again, reverse roles. So we saw Ridge being able to pull away from 7 in those high-speed corners, the first corner, getting a run out the second corner, trying to get, you know, getting the momentum out the last corner. The Honda Civic trying to just climb back up with that torque that it has, and it just wasn't enough. But there is enough. There absolutely is enough. And I feel that the Honda Civic is such a great pace car, but under traffic conditions, if it's not allowed to exercise its strengths, you're going to end up like 7, which is super frustrating because you cannot get the run. You're having to brake to people in front of you, not brake to where the braking marks are for a hot lap. And I feel that that's where the Honda Civic struggled here. There was nowhere on Brands Hatch Indy that it could capitalize all that torque gain. It was catch back up to the Audi extends in the corners. But I feel that Mitch did a great job there to hold off Vane and show that when the Honda's out in front, it stays in front.
That's a really interesting point. So what you're saying there is the Honda is maybe a hot lapping car, but not a great racing car. Not one that can, you know, I think we saw it back, you know, a few years ago with the Audi, where it was, you couldn't keep the turbo spooled up if you were offline. In order to keep that turbo in its sweet spot, you need always to be on the racing line exactly. You couldn't go up the inside of anybody and expect to have decent pace. The Honda, with a similar profile here to that, in that it's not a car that's easy to overtake in. It's a car which is suited to being on its own on the track, to being out in front. And that's very much the strength that Mitch has been playing it into so far. But we might end up seeing him in this final race starting to struggle.
No, absolutely. I mean, when I'm talking about the Honda Civic being a pace car, I'm specifically talking about Brands Hatch Indy. This is a momentum-based track. I know how small it looks, but there isn't that many places you can gain from having top speed. It certainly doesn't have the tyre width on the Audi either. I think it's losing like 20 mil of tyre width to the Audi. So the Audi's got better grip. Now, having said that, we go to next week when we're at Bugatti circuit. That's full of straights. And that's going to be perfect position. If you start lacking in those times in qualification, you can be sure that you're going to be making up places in the Honda Civic because it's going to beat everything else to the corners apart from the Cruise. Cruise and Civic, strong at Bugatti. I can't see the Audi doing that well.
Interesting. Let's go. Yeah, let's do it. Just a week away. Like we were saying during that race, you can head on over to Apex Online Racing, get yourself signed up for this series, get yourself out there on track and fighting away. We've got 16 drivers here in Lobby A, but they're just the cream of the crop, the ones who are fastest in qualifying. Alongside this, we've got 7 or however many other lobbies. I don't know the full number, but a huge number of other lobbies racing. 100 drivers out there tonight taking part in this event. And so you can always find your way to slot in. If you make it into Lobby A, then big pat on your back and nicely done. But no harm at all in racing in Lobby B, Lobby C. There'll be someone to race against no matter what your pace is. Get out there on track.
Absolutely, guys. I'm so pumped for this reverse grid. I absolutely love a reverse grid. I really do. I mean, we've seen variations in the past when it's just the top 10, but I like it when it's a full reverse grid. Make them sweat. Absolutely love it. I think that I don't agree. I don't agree with. I don't see the efficiency and the advantages of having a top 10 reverse grid and people being left out of the back. Put them out in front. Put them in the spotlight. Give them a chance because more than often, it actually happens that these guys are so close in terms of pace that any one of those 16 drivers could take a win. And this gives them that opportunity. This gives them the tools to perform to the best of their abilities. Now, if they make mistakes, that's up to them, but they've been given an opportunity. And I so feel that with Traviator getting involved in an incident with Sean hits him off the track, he's going to be starting near the back, if not, I think he finished last, actually. Let me just check. Yeah, he finished dead last, and he got a 47.1. If you compare that to the rest of the lap times, he's running times with Tactical and Sam, you know?
Right.
Those are the top times he was hitting. So if you put him out in front in a BMW, I really honestly believe that he can hold his own, or he can get a podium finish.
You know, we're looking right now at drivers. So the entire pack here, from first to 16th in qualifying, they got 5 laps to set their qualifying time. There was 0.3 of a second separating first to 16th. Nothing at all in terms of pace. Over 16 laps, 0.3 of a second a lap. You know, it's not a huge amount of time. There's a 16 in that. She can do the maths on it. You know, it's not a huge amount of time, and you know, when you compare it to a race distance, anybody I think can win this, provided they have just the right race start. They get that first lap, that first 2 laps just down sweetly, and get themselves ahead a little bit, and we can see a new winner here today to rival Williams Mitch. Of course, in the big team battle that we're looking at here, Aerox versus Williams Esports, it's all going to come down to just that balance of how the 3 drivers for each team do out there on track, how far up this field they managed to push. Mitch and Seven are going to have their work cut out for them, I think, in that Honda, compared to the Aerox drivers, who maybe have a little bit more of an overtaking formula, perhaps in that Audi.
No, absolutely. And it's the same question that we always ask in any reverse grid situation is, the guy in first, in this case, is Mitch. You know, he hasn't really been put through the paces, like you said, Ali. Only very briefly in race 2 for the first couple of laps did he come under some sort of stress. And I feel that we get our answer very quickly to these questions. We like to set up a story like, is this going to be a game changer? What's Mitch like as an overtaker? Well, we know what Mitch is like as an overtaker, and I feel that his style is sublime. I honestly believe that he's not going to get first. I don't think he's going to make to the front of the pack, but I can see maybe an 8th place for Mitch, which I would say, in a situation where people are not flying off the track like they were in race 2, that's a super solid score of points there. But having said that, it's not like Craviator, who had Barcode and Sean in front of you. You've got to start behind the guys that were keeping up with you to a certain degree. So you've got all the Aerox boys in there, and that you can be absolutely sure 100% they're not going to give you the time of day or the space to make it happen. You have got to make it for yourself, and that's what Mitch is. That's going to be the hardest thing for Mitch, because Mitch is not an aggressive driver. He's a calculated driver. He makes calculated risks. He seeks opportunities, but he won't just stick his thumb out or stick his toe out and trip someone up. He's not that kind of driver, but I feel that that's the kind of tactics he's going to need to make it through on Vane and Ridge and Bokit.
You know what? I think I'm really interested to start this race with Mitch. I think that's what we're going to do. Go all the way back. We'll be on last position on the grid, and we're going to kick this race off with Williams Mitch and just see how he handles himself around other cars. I've watched Mitch race for a long old time, and it's not often that you get opportunities to really dig into a driver's character in this way. So I'm really interested to do that. This 3rd race will be kicking off any moment now, hopefully, and we'll be able to get that last bit of action in. It's been a great day of racing once we got to the racing. It's been fantastic racing from the AOR TCC today. It's so fabulous to see all these cars on track. It's great to see how popular the touring cars remain, it's just fabulous to be out seeing the whole community come together in this way.
Absolutely, and thank you for the patience you've had with us today, guys. We know it's been grueling for you guys at one time or another. It's been a long wait, but it's finally here, and the races have come and gone in quick succession. So please, last race, the best race. Stay with us, because the action is not going to be any less than it was in race 1 or 2. I can't wait.
I can't wait. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right.
Stop making me
so
wait any longer.
I don't know what the grid's going to look like. I'm fascinated by that as well right now. What we're going to see in terms of grid here, just at the front as well of this pack. We've seen. I mean, you know what, Melish? We've done a pretty. I mean, I don't like to you know, blow my own trumpet too much, or me or Melish's trumpet for that matter. But we've done a pretty good job in terms of looking all over the track here. We've got on board at various different points with a whole bunch of different drivers today and had a little look at them. I think there's hardly anybody really who I couldn't tell you one or two stories about from today's racing who took part in Lobby A. And so it's going to be really interesting to see which ones of those sort of protagonists they're going to put together at the very front of this field as well, because those are the people who could really be bringing home the win.
Absolutely. Just a word of warning, or not even warning, caution, Alie. I know sometimes, you know, you like to work in you know, you like to work in metaphors. So like, you know how like, you know how like I like listening to a good documentary like David Attenborough, but I appreciate it even more when I can see it. So maybe this time at the start of the race, I know you're busy, but if you just press that little button.
I know you're busy. I know you're tied up. But can you do the one thing? Can you do that one thing that's your job? I know you're busy. but there's only one thing that you have to do, really. I mean, I know.
I mean, they're listening to David Attenborough, right? You know, they fall to sleep. We're perfect ASMR at points. You know, we're perfect hypey guys. But it's just a few visual references would help our day job.
Maybe like some kind of a Pictionary where I sort of sketch it for people as it takes place, and then they have to guess what's happening from my sketches. Yeah, perhaps even better is just to hop on board with the racing itself. The car's getting away for the warm-up lap, getting those tyres nice and sticky. You can see their SCT Slipstream is going to be on pole position. Behind him, it's Barry, Craviator in third, Matt 6661 is fourth position, Barcode fifth, sixth. It's AMS Mercs with Sean 1528 in seventh place. Cami followed by Type R, and then Ridge will round out the fifth row and the top 10, of course. FCT Sam in 11th with Tactical HD 12th. Now we're starting to get to the pointy end with Aerox Bokit in 13th, Vane 14th, Williams 7 in 15th, and Williams Mitch in 16th place. Way at the back of this field. That's where we want to be for the start of this race, because that is, well, he's going to make some bank.
Stream Alie.
This is where Williams going to make some bank. You made my heart jump. I know I've already done it.
Oh, you already done it? Oh, thank God. Thank God. It's a delay. I'll tell you what, if you're going to go to the back, I think it's only fair that I go to the front. And we'll just, you come and take the back, and I'll just give you updates. I'll just give you updates, because it's going to be gripping up here. Just give you updates.
All right, let's go with a few updates. Here we go then. Mitch rocking his car along, trying to find his way to his grid position. See the field here, and Mitch way back there.
Actually, no, I'm going to join you.
Almost at the curve at the start of this race. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a brilliant start. The revs are high. Race number 3 almost underway here at the Apex Online Racing Touring Car Championship, and they drop the clutch. Away we go. The run down to turn 1 is on, and Williams Mitch pulling alongside his teammate 7 into Paddock Hill. The pack up ahead, blowing up a huge amount of dust as Williams, Mitch around the outside, nicely done. But here's where everything's going to get crazy, with Vane losing out and Mitch starting to push one on him. This run is going to keep going, I suspect, as the whole pack flows down to the back of this track. Mellish, perhaps not the start that Mitch would have hoped and prayed for, but not too bad at all.
Not a start for Mitch, but Barry out in front is leading this pack. He's gained himself a huge distance on
Mitch
Matt
off track. Mitch with a mistake now at McLaren, falling all the way back to 16th. Mitch is off. That's massive. Barry, as you say, leading this race by quite some margin as well. Go on, Barry. That's great to see.
Yeah, it was absolutely 3 wide for the majority of the first lap there. Merckx tucking in behind, Slipstream there, Matt Gaming holding this train up in the Audi, Tactical in 5th place. I feel like he's got a lot to gain in this position, with Sean just behind him in 6th. He's going to stack up some points, and then there's a big gap there to Cammy and Ridge in 7th and 8th.
We're back on board here with Williams Mitch, who overtook FCT Sam, caught himself a little bit of gravel there at turn 1. He's now on the rear of JSR Type R up the inside of him, caught him napping, and that is a car on the outside. Big old moment there at McLaren with Mitch still side by side with Type R, and the run now up to turn 1.
Who's going to get those gears correctly hit? Who's going to chase those gears down, engine braking into Paddock Hill Bend? And Jaipar will just let off there. Doesn't want to go side by side down into turn 1. 7 getting blocked from Bokit. Bokit's not giving him the room. 7 will force the room. He is sick and tired of being bullied, and Bokit will be forced to the outside there. I love it. Go on, B7.
That's right. 7 has to see one more bloody Aerox Audi today. I think he's going to tear all of his hair out. You can see he's not taking any prisoners at this point. And Bokit putting up a bit of a fight though, and that I think was Craviator out wide and parked up on the outside of McLaren there. Looks like Craviator won't be finding his way back onto that track. This battle's still though on fire. Let's hop up the road to Mitch, who's trying to follow 7 through on Bokit.
Go on, that's it. They've got to work together, the Williams boys, and just does that. Brilliant. Bokit force all the way around the outside. If he's not careful, he's going to be ended up in the sand trap. Mitch in perfect position to Drew's bend. 7 and his teammate Mitch will see to get through. Bokit's hanging in there by the nose of his car. He just cannot give Mitch the room there. He's going to force it under brakes, send Mitch wide. Mitch is going to go off track slightly. And I think Bokit's just going to release here. I can't see him going up the inside.
I love this. Well, Bokit gave it a half a look there just to threaten Mitch a little bit and keep him offline, but Mitch is going to make that stick. So Williams 7 and 11th, Mitch up to 12th place after a massive moment. This has been a fantastic recovery race for Mitch in many ways. Up the field, Barry, I think, continues to hold the lead of this race with Matt 661, SCT Slipstream, and AMS Merckx. Cammy in the barrier there. See him on the left.
Man,
absolutely destroyed his car.
Yeah, man, he just clipped that sand trap out of turn 1, and he tried to strain it up under power, didn't let off the gas, and it just sim-snapped, and he is out of this race. Same with Craviator. Once again, Craviator just, you know, receiving the bad end of the stick today. He's out eating sandwiches there at McLaren. He's not participating in this race 3, which is such a shame. It is a shame, Alie. Such a shame.
Well, we're on board here with AMS Merckx, who just before we jumped on board with him, got overtaken by Tactical HD1, who's now up to 4th position. Merckx getting threatened by the car just behind. That's Sean, Matt 6661's teammate, in the equally blue and orange NOS-coloured car. Tactical pushing on towards Matt 6661, but this leading battle is very much alive, very punchy. Matt 6661 doing a great job there in 3rd to keep things honest with SCT Slipstream.
Yeah, laps 7 and 19, and Barry is leading by a substantial margin. Slipstream has got to cover this. He really does. This could be a massive point score for him. He's got a long way to go. 12 laps remain for the guy, and he's going nowhere with Matt Gaming just behind him and Tactical in the Chevy Cruze. Can Tactical make it a podium finish? He's been desperate. He's been unlucky in race number 2. It was a part of an incident in race number 1, and this would just be the cherry on top of the cake for this man. And Commando, who's not here tonight.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Tactical had so much opportunity in race number 2. We saw him really buoyantly moving up the field, looking like he was making leaps and bounds past the other drivers. And then a little mistake at turn 3 just saw him lose all of that position that he'd worked to gain. And it was heartbreaking to see. Nice to see Tactical up here though, 4th place in race number 2, and really looking like he's got the pace to pass Matt and possibly even Slipstream up ahead.
With you on board with Merckx, I'm going to watch Tactical as he gets super aggressive, tries to feint a dive bomb down the inside of turn 1. Matt Gaming just takes the racing line, having none of that nonsense, but he is covering to perfection at the moment, Matt Gaming. This allows Slipstream to get a few car lengths ahead. He's nowhere in a position to challenge Barry. Barry is on a golden run. Fine form from Barry. Matt Gaming just gets his grass into turn 3, and that sees a Chevy Cruiser Tactical up the inside. He takes that. Sean looking around the outside of Merckx going into turn 4, and he will just slip in behind Merckx again. Merckx under severe pressure.
Wow, this battle is absolutely alive. I've got to say that just a little bit further down the field, Mitch just managed to pip his teammate 7 and move on by just one position up in this field. So Mitch looking a little bit stronger than he was, and now looking forward actually towards that battle with Tactical and with Matt 661. Although there are a fair few cars up ahead there, that battle extends all the way to second place.
Oh, look at that. It's Aerox boys going toe-to-toe. It's Vane and Ridge having none of it, like they're not teammates. They didn't even exist next to each other. And Ridge just pushes his teammate Vane off the track. It's not having it. That was unbelievable. There was just no camaraderie there. It was like, we're just running the same paint jobs, but we're not friends. Do what?
Well, Mitch and Vane and Ridge, you know, they've been running a decent team race all day long. I'm surprised to see that. I guess, you know, lap 11 of race number 3, the day's coming to an end, and everyone's hoping that their teammates have a short memory and will forget all about it by next race. I think there might be long chances on that, but who knows?
Lap 11 and 19, Barry still out in the lead, and Mitch is the man on the mission from last place into 9th place. He's popped that 10th place bubble into 9th, and he's looking hungry on the back of Vane and Rich, who are both getting at each other. They need to settle down because before long, Mitch will be there, and he has been superb so far. He is not finished, and Merckx seems to be the Merckx seems to be the log in the dam right now. It's about to explode.
Here we go then, Mitch piling that a little bit more pressure on as he files in 9th position and gets in touch with this massive battle, this massive gaggle of cars. You can see them all on the mini-map there on the bottom left of the screen. And that extends all the way really from 9th through to 2nd. So Mitch all the way up to SCT Slipstream, running 2nd place, whole bunch of one tyre fire there. On the way out of turn number 2, everyone's struggling for traction, the differentials going crazy. But Mitch, smooth, fast, and looking like he might be on for a way past Vane here.
Yeah, Vane trying to cover the inside there, but the thing is, though, he's getting scuppered by his own teammate. They can't take the normal braking line. It slows him down so much more, and that allows Mitch to get through the inside. He's not been able to capitalize yet because he's been so close. Just keeps tapping that rear end. And as you can see, the top end of the Civic, they're getting closer and closer to the Audi on the draft, and then not before long, they're back in the first corner. He's got to make this work. Merckx is getting swallowed up here. Sean's going through, Ridge is going through the inside. Vane's trying to find a way through. They're all trying to find a way through. Is this going to be a 4-man overtake? Merckx trying to settle down. Ridge is through, Vane's through, Sean's through, and Mitch is left high and dry.
I'll tell you what, Vane was backing out of that. Mitch went up to his rear bumper and said, "You get in there," and kind of footed him through the door, pushed Vane through on the inside of Merckx there. So Ridge saying, you know what, Vane, you do want that overtake, and you are going to take it. So here you go, mate. Pushing him along the track. Mitch now up into 8th, though, overtaking Merckx as well. The pressure isn't off Vane, but I do wonder whether or not that would be Mitch's best chance at an overtake on the Aerox driver up ahead.
Can you believe a 1.21 mile track, 6 corners, and Merckx has gone from 5th to 9th in the space of 3 corners. Mitch trying to get up the inside. Vane just keeps swiping his nose off, keeps trail braking into Druids and just cutting the nose off the Honda Civic, not giving him the chance to breathe there. And I think that Mitch is going to have to be a little bit more forceful if he wants to get past Vane.
Right, what I will tell you is that there's been a lot of fighting in this battle since we last checked in with it. When we first looked at it, Mitch was the person right on the back of it, but there's been so much scrapping that all the way back to 12th now is in touch with this fight. We're getting on board here with FCT Sam, and you can look up the field there. It's just a huge train of cars here, lap 15 of 19, and it could be lap number 1 or 2, because this pack has not separated at all. That's why we're seeing people like Merckx getting forced offline and losing out not just 1 or 2 positions, but 4 or 5 before they're able to regain their momentum.
Yeah, it's a sad day for Tacq, really. He's not been able to capitalise. He's been in that top 10 bubble twice on the trot. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it just yet. 4 laps remaining. He's got a long way to go, but it is great news for his teammate SET Slipstream, who is now in 2nd place, and that gap that Barry had initially in this race is starting to disappear. The Honda Civic starting to catch the Audi here as they go into lap 16. Can he catch him before this race is over? That is going to start to develop, Alie.
You're right, I'm just sitting on board here with FCT Sam, who's making Aerox Bokit's life pretty miserable. Tough old 3rd race for Bokit, who's looked like the 3rd driver in all 3 races for Aerox, with Ridge and Vane really holding down the fort on the podium positions. Bokit getting left behind here in race number 3 as well. He'll come back later in the series, and he'll come back strong if I know Aerox Bokit, but just here today, on this day in history, not having the pace of his teammates perhaps. It's been a long old day of racing, and Mitch looking to finish it off with one more overtake. It would be a very special one indeed for him, I think, overtaking the driver who's come 2nd in race 1, 2nd in race 2, and we'll be looking to beat him here in the final race.
We've seen it so many times before, Alie, but it's about to happen again. It's Audi versus Honda Civic 1 and 2. Barry has got 3 laps, 2.5 laps to keep this under wraps. But it looks like SET Slipstream is coming to fine form here, and he's pulling away from Tactical and Chevy Cruise. He's looking really good right now, really, really good.
Good old fight.
We never heard of this guy.
That's Sean 1528 up ahead there. Yeah, he got a fantastic performance today and doing a great job blocking away Matt 661, and Sean doing a good team drive there with those orange and blue liveries. Aerox Vane finding his way by on Matt 661. No, he won't say no. He won't say come on through. He's going to let it happen, and Mitch here up the inside of both of them. I love this move. Mitch making it happen, and this could be the moment of the race as Mitch comes up the inside at turn number 2. Overtakes Vane. Vane looking for a way back pass, but it's a little bit too little, a little bit too late for that driver, and there is no way back now. 18 and 19 laps, and Mitch is surely through Tactical off.
Barry getting loose in the turn 4, sorry to cut you off, Ali. He went straight into Tactical. Again, Tactical just cursed today at Brands Hatch. And SET Slipstream has gone way into the lead. Last lap, that's him secured. It's his to lose. And what a fantastic ride there. Just perseverance and consistency. And he's going to take that checkered flag if it stays like this.
Let's hop on board here with Slipstream. We've hardly seen him all day, apart from to say that he's been running 16th in race number 1 and 2. What a way to end the day for Slipstream, who are surely showing his potential here at the AOR TCC. He's fought like crazy, and you can see that battle etched onto every panel of that Honda Civic. No parts of that will be accepted by the rental company when he comes back through. Slipstream, though, coming up the line here to win race number 3. He's going to do that in incredible style, jumping backwards. You can see all the cars pulling across the line there. Pack never broke up. Mitch making positions all the way to the very end. A heartfelt drive from Williams Mitch, who may have ended up in 4th position.
He did.
Very, very strong indeed.
He ended up in 4th.
Very strong.
What a race from Mitch. Holy moly. There was... There's just no room at Brands Hatch, and yet he made room. What a great drive. What a great drive from Mitch.
Unbelievable. I love that drive from so many people. That move from Mitch, actually, you know, we're going to cut this thing short in a second or two, and we're going to come on. Well, I got it on replay, so we can throw that back on right now, I think.
Please, let me see it.
Over here. Let's go. So throw it up here. Hopefully this works. First time we're using the replays. There's just so much action on track that it was impossible to find a time to play a replay, if it was. But yeah, here we are back down turn number 1. We're coming through now, and this was the moment when Matt 661 said, you know what, no, to Vane. He said, I'm not going to let that happen, and got up the inside of him, allowing space for Mitch to get up the inside of both of them. Lent a little bit on Vane there, but I think all's fair in love and war, and down and through up 2 positions. But the most important thing there is getting on past. That was an incredible pass there from Mitch. I mean, and very, very important as well. As we're saying, Vane really Mitch's main contender here in this early round.
That is amazing, Ali. I couldn't believe he did that. The way he just sensed that opportunity there. You know, Vane on the raggedy edge. Vane did a great job not tending to the sand there, no doubt whatsoever. But the way that Mitch capitalized on 2 positions, billowing smoke from the tires there, just torque steering out Druids, he made that stick for him, and then he went on to secure another place in tactical. From dead last to 4th, you couldn't really ask any more. I thought he may be mid-pack, but never did I ever think he was in just a grasp of getting a podium finish there in race number 3. Great job to slipstream up in front, and Type is going to be joyous because that is a big bucket of points there. As Type really, I think Type has met his match, and I think he's going to have to come here with a better game next week because Slipstream really held down the fort there in that reverse grid. And points mean everything. Points mean everything. And, you know, we've not seen the whole list of A-star drivers here today because of other competitions that are going on. And no one here can say that their position is settled. No one can think that they're guaranteed a position in A-Lobby next week. So you've got to, I know, exactly. And they've got to work for it. Everyone has got to work for it.
Let's be real. 0.3 of a second in qualifying was the difference between pole position and not being in A-Lobby. 0.3. You can lose that on 1 corner. I mean, it's a big loss, but you can lose it pretty easily on 1 corner. Unbelievable how close this championship is from the very, very start. We're just getting going as well. It's an 8-week championship. There's so much time to come out and get racing. So do head on over to apexonlineracing.com. I want to say a massive thank you to all the staff over at Apex Online Racing. I know it's been a tough old first week with a little bit of a delay at the start, but once the racing got going, I got to say it all went so smoothly, and it was really ace to see. So yeah, massive kudos to everyone over there at AOR putting on this TCC, and for all you guys who remember back in the day, that's a whole lot of the people who used to be running ORL back in the day. So there's a lot of familiar faces out there in AOR. It's been a great event. Big kudos to Mitch, big kudos to Vane. But the thing I'm most excited about, Mellish, at the end of this is that team battle between Williams and Aerox.
Well, just a little bit of an update on that. Really, I wasn't aware, Ali, but it's only the top 2 scorings per round that are taken into account. So it's not that it's 3. So the fact that Roadrunner didn't make it has no effect and no bearing. And really, it really was about between Mitch 7, Vane, Bokit, and Ridge, and those guys going toe-to-toe with each other for the majority of this race. I think Mitch was just absolutely on form. I have to say, 1 point, completely unrelated. 99 drivers who started this championship with, please, for the love of God, somebody out there, make it 100. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. Just make it 100. Make it 100. You got 1 drop round. If you miss this round and you can make all the rest, you're still in contention of the championship or making a good amount of points. So please do get involved and go over to Apex Online Racing. I don't know what the link is. It's there, apexonlineracing.com. Please go there.
Yep.
Get signed up, because it is not going to be what you saw today. Is just going to be in different places on different tracks. And next week we're going to a Bugatti circuit, completely different kettle of fish.
Yeah, come out and get involved. It's going to be an awesome championship. For now, though, Mellish, any final thoughts here from the AOR TCC? Who do you think is going to win it out next round?
Do you know what? I wanted Barry to win that last race. Yeah. I do, and on that thought for me, I think that if he can hold his nerve for the last 2 laps of a race at Bugatti, if he starts in first, I think he's got it. I want to see Barry win a race. I'm not saying a championship. I'm not predicting championships. Just a race. Barry's going to take it.
All right, well, there you go. Barry's going to take it. I cannot wait to see how things work out at Bugatti next time out. But for now, it's a very, very pleasant bank holiday weekend to all of you. I hope you have a great break. Come and join us tomorrow. We'll almost all the cast here in one way or the other will be taking part in the Le Mans Esports Series Europe region. Whether you're racing, whether you're chatting about it, or whatever you happen to be doing. So do come and join us there tomorrow. But for now, it's a very good night, and yeah, enjoy your weekend.